Alrighty, chat. Let's get started. Welcome to another HealthyGamerGG stream. My name is Alok Kanoja. Just a reminder that although I'm a psychiatrist, nothing we discuss on stream today is intended to be taken as medical advice. Everything is for educational or entertainment purposes only. If y'all have a concern or question, please go see a licensed professional. So hello, and welcome to an evening HealthyGamerGG stream. Couple of quick announcements before we get to talking about our guest today. So the first thing is we're going to be over at the Streamies this weekend. So we recently discovered that we were nominated for a Streamy in the health and wellness category. And we're grateful to everyone who thinks that we're doing something good on the internet. We are here to try to do good things on the internet. And we are grateful to everyone who has helped us make this possible. The nomination is an honor enough. I looked at other people in the category. I really don't think that we are the best health and wellness streamer out there. There are just some amazing content creators out there, and it's an honor to just be in that same category. At the same time, we'll see what happens with that, and it's awesome to be considered. So before we jump into our interview, which should be starting in just a minute or two, first of all, I'd like to remind y'all a little bit about why we do what we do. So we're here to talk to people about their experiences of life. And sometimes the people that we talk to are more sympathetic or less sympathetic, and that's okay, right? So one of the key things that I've learned as a psychiatrist is that communication and dialogue is like really, really important for facilitating growth and change in anyone's life. And that's what we're really here to do. We've talked to and had conversations with people who have been convicted of crimes. We've talked to people who are very politically oriented. We've talked to people who are parts of minority communities. We've talked to people who are parts of majority communities. We are here to have conversations. And the reason I think that's important is because, once again, based primarily on my clinical experience, but also years of studying to become a monk, one of the biggest things that I realized is we're all human. And one of the things that I choose to believe, which probably is going to be wrong at some point, is that generally speaking, as humans, the more we understand each other's perspectives and the more that we try to have compassion towards one another, the better off in general we're going to be. Now, I'm sure that at some point I will meet someone or have a conversation with someone that disproves that. And then I will eat my words. But up until that point, that day hasn't come yet. I'm sure it'll come at some point. And so the main thing that I ask of y'all is to remember a couple of things. The first is that coming on stream isn't necessarily easy. Like, a lot of times it's fun and easy, but not necessarily. People come on here because they want to come on here. Generally speaking, people come on here to try to help other people. That is the number one reason why people come onto this stream. By sharing their experience of life, we hope to learn something about them, and we hope to also learn something about ourselves. That's what we're about. And irrespective of who we talk to, I think that still remains true. So I really ask y'all to try to treat all of our guests with respect and compassion. It doesn't mean that you don't have to like what they say. You're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to form judgments. That's actually okay. But we ask y'all to try to remember that coming on here is not necessarily easy, and that people choose to do this. And that we're grateful to every single guest that we've had on stream for helping us understand a little bit more about what it means to be human. And I don't consider this interview to be any different. Any questions about that? Okay, let's hop into the interview. All righty. Let's do Discord. Oh, here we go. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, doctor?
Give me 1 second to try to configure this. I'm a tiny bit of a boomer. So you got to bear with me for 1 second, my dude.
All good, I got you. If you need help with
hey,
settings
it works.
and stuff, I can help you.
Miraculous. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I honestly, I saw, honestly, I'm not going to be fake about it. I haven't seen anything that you've done or anything, but my moderators are telling me they were going to plan this for me. So I don't really know what we're doing today, but they just said it's going to be good.
Okay. So, to be complete, that's first of all, dude, I love your honesty, man. I'm super hyped about this. So let me just explain a couple of things. First of all, what do you go by?
Aiden. You could just call me Aiden.
Aiden. Okay. So let me explain to you a little bit about what we usually do. I'm super excited. I know it sounds kind of weird. I've seen very little of your stuff. I know you have a reputation on the internet. I'm not even sure exactly what it is, but I try very hard not to watch people's content, just because anytime I have a conversation with them, I don't want to be biased by a character on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me explain to you what we do. I'm a psychiatrist, but one thing that it's important for you to understand is that this is not therapy. So I'm not going to be diagnosing you, treating you, prescribing you any medications. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So what I try to do with people, I started streaming to have conversations with people just to understand a little bit about what their life is like. That's basically it. Sometimes we'll talk about stuff, which is totally cool. Like sometimes we can talk about particular topics that may be interesting to you or interesting to me. But generally speaking, we're here because I believe that the internet is a judgmental space and that having a conversation with a human being can help us learn more about each other and learn more about ourselves. Sometimes, and I'm happy to go into more of my background if you want, people have questions about something related to science, health, or mental health. And while I don't provide medical advice, like, for example, I think you have Crohn's disease and you should start on a biologic agent, I won't do that. I'm happy to guide people based on my varied experience and the kind of work that I've done if people are interested in learning about things. And that's reciprocal. So if you want to teach me about stuff too, and it's kind of where the conversation goes, like, that's totally fine.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds great, man. It sounds great. Everything you're saying it's perfect. It's music to my ears. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome, dude. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Aiden. A lot of people that don't know me, they call me Aiden Ross. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that is my name, but I like to just be called Aiden. I'm a streamer. I've been streaming for a few years now. I've been streaming for, I would say, honestly, 4 years, coming up on 5. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. I enjoy streaming. I used to enjoy it way more when my hunger was more, you know what I'm saying, was when I was more hungry.
Okay.
But now I feel like I've really kind of not beat the streaming game, but kind of like accomplished my goals that I set beforehand. So now it's harder for me to kind of make and appreciate streaming more sometimes. But lately I've been doing some new stuff. Like I've been switching it up and I've actually been enjoying it lately, as of like this month particularly. So, you know, it's been really good.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about how'd you become a streamer, man?
So I've always kind of like played video games, and throughout my whole life, like everyone I used to like kind of be buddies with back in the day when I used to play like games. Like I used to play, my first game I ever streamed was NBA 2K14, but I had like no viewers, but I just streamed it because, which was like when I was 13 years old. I would just stream it because like I was 13, like literally just cursing and just playing and stuff like that, and just kind of like making content. And my boy was like, you'd actually be like a really good streamer. And I would like see other streamers that I would watch, and I'd be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna get ahead of the game. And I did it, and I have ADHD, man. I just move a lot. I speak a lot. My mind is just not normal, I feel like sometimes. And I don't know, I just really, really like got into it from having like passion for NBA 2K, and then just talking a lot and while I'm playing and stuff and entertaining.
Okay, so it sounds like you liked NBA 2K a lot. So you started streaming when you were like 13?
Yeah, but I got no viewers and I quit for like 3-4 years, and then I started up again like when I was like 17, 18-ish.
And what, so if you've been streaming for 4 or 5 years, that means you're like 22, 23?
I'm 22. Yeah, I'm about to be 23 in October.
Okay. And so second time around, what kind of got you into it?
Second time around, I was a senior in high school, and I like knew that like I didn't want to go to college, man. Like I had family members like tell me like, you're gonna be homeless, you're gonna be like, if you don't go to college, like you don't become a lawyer, and like they want me to become like a lawyer or like something that was like suit and tie, super professional, classy. And I just knew it wasn't for me. Like I was just always different. I was always like super to myself in school. I just never really wanted to do what everyone wanted me to do. I always wanted to go like I always wanted to do the opposite. Like if a human being in my life that wasn't my father, my mother told me to do something, I just wanted to do the opposite of it. Just to be like, haha, Like you told me that shit, and I did the opposite just because I could do it.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you really like had a lot of. It sounds like family members were almost like trying to scare you into going to college.
I got a lot of pressure because I come from a family that nobody ever went to school. Like the only people that have been through I have sisters. The only person that was in school was like my one aunt, and then my mom. Like my dad didn't even go to college. Like it's like nobody in my whole family went to college. Like nobody.
If they
So they
never
wanted
went to
me to.
college, why would they pressure you so much into going to college?
Because at the point of my life when I was a senior about to like make what I wanted to do, we weren't really financially stable. There was a lot of problems in my home. So like they were just like, well, if you go to college, you'll have a good head on your shoulders and stuff. And I think it'll be different because it'll be switching up like the family tradition type of thing, you know?
Wow. So it sounds like
Yeah.
things were a little bit rough, and they sounds like they were recommending stuff based on what they thought was good for you.
My senior year, it was really hard for my family. I was super skinny. I didn't eat every night. People think that like I had it very easy my whole life. We were financially stable, medium class, up until about senior year. It got really hard for us. And you know, I would go literally some nights without eating dinner. Like I would just have like a bag of chips for dinner and stuff.
And why is that?
And because there was a point in time where something happened where everyone in my family, my mom didn't work. She does yoga and stuff. Like she's like an instructor now. She does like yoga for fun.
Wow.
I retired my mom like a couple years ago. But she just does yoga instructing for fun.
I'm sorry. What does that
But
mean? You retired your mom a couple of years ago?
like she would work with like mentally disabled people and like help them out, like people with like autism and like Down syndrome and bipolar. She would like help them and stuff and like
Wow.
basically be like not a nurse, but kind of just like somebody who would just like be really like an aide basically.
Yeah.
So I retired my mom from doing that. And she just does yoga for fun because it's like she's like very into namaste, like peaceful stuff and stuff. So she's super at peace and spiritual. But what I mean by retiring her is I just basically like was like, hey mom, dad, you guys never have to worry about money ever again. Like you guys are good. I got them a house, I paid it off, everything, got them cars. So
Wow.
that's what I meant by retiring. Yeah.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, that's the best feeling I've ever out of everything I've ever done in my career, out of anything I've ever spent. That's the best thing I think anyone could ever say, especially me. Like that, like anybody that's in a position like I am, I pray that you guys all get in this position where you can retire your parents. It's the best feeling in the world. There's nothing like it.
Sounds like you're a good son, Aiden.
I try to be. I try to be.
Maybe if we get to know each other a little bit better, we can hear about some of your less good things that you do from as being a son. But
Yeah.
so wow, so that sounds like you were kind of very self-driven. Can you help me understand a little bit about this kind of like if someone tells you that you shouldn't do something, you kind of like you're like screw you, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Well, my mind has always been different. Like I'm telling you, when I was like 4 years old, 5 years old, I've always grew up different. When I was 5 or 6 in first grade, I was wearing pull-ups still. I was wearing diapers because I was a late bloomer to where I was peeing and wetting the bed until I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I've always seemed to be rebellious, and I've always seemed to be doing things that like it late and just what other kids weren't doing. I would have weird tics growing up. I was just super like I wouldn't say I was like socially awkward. I was very social. I made a lot of friends. I moved around a lot. I've had like I moved to like 4 different towns, kind of 3 different towns, like making new friends. I've always been very social. I've always fit in with people and stuff. I've never had a hard time doing that. But I would just say growing up, listening to people, I was very, I guess you could say rebellious in a way, not in a bad way, just in a way if somebody was like, hey, Aiden, do that and this, I would do it my own way. Like if I'd like to just figure it out on my own. Like, for example, I had to learn this a lot, but I've had many things in my life where I've messed up, where people are like, Aiden, like, don't do this. Like, Aiden, don't jump on the table, for example. But I would have to do it to learn the consequence. I would just like to see what would happen. I would want to see it. People in life that can catch it. And like if like for example, doctor, if you were like Aiden, if you jump on that table, you're gonna get hurt. I think those people that can actually just listen and just not do it, those are lucky people. There's a lot of people that are that genuinely like they have to actually go through it, figure it out for themselves. And I was one of those kids that just like wanted to just know what it was like.
So I'm sort of hearing that not necessarily that you were like rebellious, but that you just needed to learn things from yourselves for yourself.
Yeah, but again, like I just think it's not fair. I get it. I get why, but I just think it's not fair for family members, anybody to be pressuring their children to be doing something. Like I think college is extremely outdated. For example, I'm not bashing college. I think college is necessary for a lot of people. I think if you know what you want to do, if I know I want what I'm passionate about, if I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, if I want to do something, I think college is worth it for me if I know what I'm doing. If I think if people are going into college without any train of thought in what they want to do, like if, for example, if I'm like I want a career in business, go to college for business. If you don't know what it is yet, just go to college for business. If you know you want to major in business. But if you don't know what you want to do, what's the point? That's my thing. I recommend try finding a way to make money, stack up, you know what I mean, and figure it out then. I just think being pressured and forced into doing that, and that's what I had my senior year. Like I was already being told by my family members, you need to be an accountant. You know what I mean? You need to be an accountant. You need to be a lawyer. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't even know what I want to do. It's my life, you know? And I'm at an age where I just want to know. I'm at an age where I want to figure it out my own. When I was 18, I just wanted to figure it out my own.
Yeah, and so what's it like to be under that pressure?
I think I felt a lot of pressure because at this point, my sisters weren't really doing anything. No offense to them. I love them. They're doing their own things now. But I just think I was really going through it because I feel like everything was crumbling in my family. Nobody was really, you know what I'm saying,
That's
doing
scary,
anything.
man.
Yeah, and I just felt like I was, in a way, the golden child. I had to resurrect and help my parents out and find a way. So I had just, yeah.
So I'm almost hearing that like the pressure you were under was not just about your own life. It's sort of like they were putting all their eggs in your basket.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say like I was kind of like I felt pressure from everybody because I had to succeed, and if I didn't succeed, then I was gonna feel like a failure probably. Like I don't know. And honestly, I still have this pressure to this day. I know we're gonna get into that later, but the pressure it's never went away. I've had it ever since I was a senior.
What do you
For
mean
real.
we're going to get into that later? Help me understand that.
Well, we're starting. We're talking right now about like before all this, which is good, and I want to stem this for a little bit. If you have any more topics or questions to talk about, because I'm saying I still have this pressure to this day
Okay.
of like basically like carrying my family tree, if that makes sense. It's weird. I'll get into it. I don't mean it in any type of like egotistical way or anything like that, but
I'm not getting any ego from you.
okay, just making sure.
You want to talk about it now?
No, I'm saying like, was there not? Because I know we're talking about like the beginning, like before all this. Like, do you want to skip right into that? I don't care. I don't care what we do.
I mean, I have like 1,000 questions for you, but sure, maybe we can get into it a little bit later.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you were hungry. So you said a couple times that your mind has always been different. Like, what else have you noticed?
Every single trauma I've ever had in my life, I've always put it away and stored it, and I never dealt with it. Like I've only cried a few times in my life. I've cried before, and sometimes it hits me. But like I used to cry a lot when I was a kid. But like every time I have trauma, I put it in my back of my brain. I'm very desensitized. My brain is very desensitized. You know what I'm saying? It's like I almost. It's just like how do I put this? My brain works really weird. Like I don't feel feelings sometimes because I'm not soulless. I have a soul, and whenever I like disconnect myself, I feel things, and I can feel love, and I can feel passion, I can feel stuff. But
Whenever you
sometimes
disconnect yourself, you feel things.
disconnect from the internet mainly. Like go basically like go somewhere.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Get away from
Um,
all of this.
get away from everything. Take a little break. Go travel somewhere without having to work. Take time off of streaming. It really helps me find myself again.
Okay.
Connect myself to reality. Um, but where was I? Sorry. Oh, the desensitization of my brain. That's my biggest issue I have today. It's like it's super hard for me to sometimes feel things and just kind of like um I don't know. It's almost like I'm emotionless and like I feel like I beat the game.
What do you mean by beat the game? What's the
Like
game?
when I was coming in to like entering the streaming game, I had goals in the back of my head. And the goals in the back of my head were set your parents up for life, put some money in your bank account, meet some of your heroes and idols, and you did it. And the excitement and hunger I had when conquering this, like the grind part, the grind aspect, was honestly, I couldn't realize it, but when I was grinding, that was like the peak feeling of me when I was accomplishing all this stuff. I've talked to a lot of the people that I looked up to throughout my life, and I've met them and I've had conversations with them, and I got this and I got that and I did that and I did this, and I just feel like I've kind of already conquered a lot of the things, like at a really young age.
Sure. And what does it feel like to conquer things at a young age?
Like I beat the game.
And how does that feel?
I don't know. I honestly, man, it's fucked up, because honestly, like, that's what drives me crazy sometimes. Like, what do I do now? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Sure. And I'm hearing that you really almost enjoyed grinding.
Of course, when I was in the grind and I had a hunger and I was boom, bam, boom, getting all my goals and results and stuff, it's like that shit was everything to me. Like that was you could see the hunger. The hunger right now that I had when I'm sorry, I'll never have that hunger again. It's true. I don't
scary.
believe I will. Well, I don't believe I will. I wish I would, but I don't think that hunger exists anymore. Like I'm hungry in other ways. Like now, sometimes when I want to make like amazing content, like I want to do new things, I just think about my community and what got me here today. Like my community has been here through the shitty moments, the good content, the bad content. It's like now all I care about is just doing shit for them, my core. I don't care about anything else but my core. I want to make good content for my core, because my core has been here through everything for me.
So it sounds like you had some goals that were, and let me know if this word rubs you the wrong way, a little bit more selfish before.
Definitely. No. My main set goal was to just get rich, take care of my family, and have some money to put aside for me, and that was it.
Yeah.
I would say my goal was never selfish. Like once my first purchase was a Lamborghini at 19, I think. But like, you're right. I guess you are right. My first goal, I would say was selfish.
Yeah, and I mean, I was thinking about a better word, because I think it's like okay to have selfish goals, like, like it's okay to want stuff from life.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it to be derogatory, and that's why I was like, I just couldn't find a better word.
I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
Go for it.
I think when you're in grind mode, like anyone that's grinding towards something, like I don't really know too much about you, but like when you're grinding for, like, let's just say you went to Harvard, right?
Sure.
When you were grinding to get to Harvard, when I was grinding to become a streamer, you kind of have to be selfish, because like, let's just say like in a way, like you're grinding to you have in a selfish way, like where you have to just do you basically before you can really aid and take care of others. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of have to.
I think that's a very, very reasonable way to look at things. Interestingly enough, I would say in my case, it was sort of the opposite. There was a time in my life where I was grinding to get into Harvard and I was nowhere near. And then there was a time in my life where I gave that up and wasn't interested in being the best or accomplishing anything really. And paradoxically, that's what ended up getting me there. But, I think that what you're saying makes perfect sense. And so I'm kind of curious, like when you were grinding and accomplishing stuff, it sounds like you got a Lamborghini at the age of 19, which is like, that's rare, man.
It's like below one. It's like what, like point something % of just doing that. There's people that don't even have fucking houses and food, bro. And I'm over here buying a Lamborghini at 19 years old. You go what I'm saying? Like it's like super desensitizing.
What's desensitizing about it?
I think in general, at 19, having a load of money and not knowing what to do with it, never being taught what to do with money, never being taught how to use it, how to utilize it. And I'm 19, I buy a Lamborghini. It's like, it doesn't make sense. I don't even have a house yet. My parents aren't even good yet. I just think it's super desensitizing making money to buy a Lamborghini at 19. I just think having a lot of money with not knowing what to do with it at 19 is crazy. You know what I mean?
So I think there's something really, that sounds like an important discovery, but I don't understand it. So how does buying a Lamborghini at 19, how does that connect to desensitizing? Can you help me understand that? I think you're onto something. I just don't.
Yeah. I think what I'm trying to say is like, maybe it's the wrong word I'm using. Like,
I don't think so, man.
Well,
What,
it's desensitizing buying a Lamborghini at 19 in general because it's like you're not. I don't know. I just feel like not every 19-year-old's doing that.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? So when you come into that, like that little like, I don't know, like when you come in and you go buy a Lamborghini at 19 without having houses and all these things and stuff, it's like I never knew how to manage money. Like I never knew how to like do that. And right now, if I go back at 19, I had the funds I had, I would tell myself, don't buy a Lamborghini right now.
And then what would you have done if you told yourself, if Aiden Ross from the future showed up to 19-year-old Aiden Ross and was like, bruh, don't buy a Lambo? What would 19-year-old Aiden Ross have done?
I think I would have literally said, give it to your parents because they know what to do. You know what I mean?
That's what the older you would have said. What would the younger you have done?
Oh, you're saying younger than now?
No. So like if you were 19, right? Let's say you could travel back in time.
Okay.
You could talk to your 19-year-old self. And 22-year-old Aiden was like, don't buy a Lambo, give it to your parents. What would 19-year-old you have done?
Fuck you, I'm buying a Lamborghini.
Okay, right? Interesting,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
And so when you say desensitized, maybe I can offer something and let me know. So I'm getting the sense that when you're grinding, you feel really good, right? Because you're putting in effort and then you're seeing those numbers or whatever those metrics are. And then after you get it, there's like, you feel nothing?
Not nothing. So I'll explain it. When you're grinding towards something, you get a high. After I would do a viral stream or a viral moment, I would get high off of it. It would give me some type of like release of chemicals in my brain to make me like, okay, keep going. This is amazing. I love the attention, the what I'm gaining from this. I love the money. I love the dopamine release. I love it. I want more of it. I want to keep. What's next? How do I go viral again? How do I do it again? How do I go again? How do I gain more followers? How do I gain out of this? The clout, it's an addiction. It's addicting. It's a drug. Because when you keep gaining and gaining and gaining, it's a high, you know? So I wouldn't say I feel nothing now. I just don't care anymore. Like I don't care as much as I did before. Like if I was stuck on a very, very small core community that just loves me and cares for me and will watch me do anything, and I don't really care about the crazy numbers anymore. I don't really care about doing crazy viral stuff anymore. Like I just don't. Like I care to make good content, but like the crazy viral moments and stuff that I was doing back in the day, I don't need to put myself in that position anymore.
What's changed?
I would say growing up a little more, going through a lot, doing a lot. I would say having more money now. I would just say, honestly, yeah, I would just say more experience in this shit as well.
And in what ways have you grown up, Aiden?
Experience. I think I'm not 100% mature yet. I still have a lot to learn. I'm still super young and I make dumb decisions all the time. I don't know, man. I think I still got a lot more growing up to do, but I think I'm in a better place now than I was when I was back at 21, 20, you know?
How were you different 1 or 2 years ago? What was the place you were in?
Less money, different living situation. You know, I would say less, like just less experience in general in my career as well.
So Aiden,
different people around me got, you know, I don't really speak with anymore. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
So no, it's totally cool, dude. I was just kind of, so I'm a little bit confused because like on the one hand, I'm sort of hearing that back in the day when your head was in the game, you felt good. You're grinding, you're getting that dopamine rush. You use the word addiction, which is, I mean, that's a powerful word, man. And at the same time, it sounds like you felt really good. And I'm sort of almost hearing you kind of say that you're in a better place now, but you like don't feel as good in some way. Like, does that kind of make sense? I'm sort of hearing two different threads.
I don't feel fulfillment and high anymore after having a viral moment. Does that make sense? Like if I
Sure.
see a viral moment or viral clip now, I'll just laugh about it and scroll right past it. I don't care anymore as I would care back in 2021. I would be super, super like, oh my God, I gotta do more of this. I gotta do that, I gotta do this. I just don't really care for it anymore.
Which one do you prefer, the way you are now or the way you used to be?
Now, all about pleasing a core that cares about me than a trendy audience that doesn't really give two shits about me for sure.
Okay. And is being fulfilled and being high the same thing?
What do you mean?
So you said like you don't get the sense of fulfillment, you don't feel as high anymore. I don't mean like drugs. I mean like what you're talking about.
I feel at peace. I feel I'm cool with what I have. I feel comfortable. I
You
feel
feel
good.
at peace now?
At peace because back when I was in that 2021 mode, I was nervous and horribly going like mentally destroyed because I would always have to think about what I got to do the next day to go viral. Otherwise, I'm gonna fall off. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on a mission still, trying to grind and trying to figure things out and try to just going
So
down this little upscale of a blow up. You
so
know?
I'm kind of hearing that like it's quite a roller coaster, dude. So like on the
Oh
one
yeah.
hand there's like the thrills and it's like hell yeah, you feel that energy. What's next, baby? But at the same time maybe there's like anxiety, like maybe I can't do it, like
Yeah.
doubt.
Literally, yes. Self doubt, um, just a lot of like overthinking, man. Just like straight up, just you know.
What do you mean by overthinking? What kind of
I
thoughts
just
did
thought
you have?
if I didn't top this stream, I was gonna fall off and everyone would leave me. And I just thought like if I didn't do this right, or if I didn't you know figure out a way to do this stream better and figure it out, then my whole community was gonna leave me. I really did. I thought everyone would leave.
And what so you mentioned that like your who you hang out with or something has changed. What's happened to your
Well,
community, your connections?
I had a different living arrangement. Back when my name in 2021, I was first blowing up. A lot of people would hit me up. Had a lot of fake people in my life at that time. I had a lot of people who were just straight up um just not. I had a lot of people in my life that weren't there. Like my living arrangement was there. I was in a whole content house, okay? I was in a house full of people who do content creation as well on the internet. And um it was a different environment. I was living in work, if that makes sense. Like I
Sure.
was living, yeah. I would wake up to a messy ass room to a stream I did the day before. And I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would wake up to that. Like if I like was in my streaming room the other day and I completely broke like this one stream I did, I broke like this concrete stuff with a hammer. I slept in that. Like I was sleeping in work. So my living arrangement in general was just completely different. Like it was just I was living in work. I felt too much work, you know?
And how are you living now?
Happier for sure. I now don't live in work. If I want to take a day off and lay in bed and watch TV and just take one thing at a time and not live in work and go outside, and it's a lot better. I
What's it
do
like? Yeah, go ahead.
I do sometimes get lonely though, I'm not gonna lie. But what you writing down there, doctor?
I mean, I've written a ton of shit. Why are you so focused on what I'm writing now?
I'm just kidding. I know. I know you've been writing.
I don't think you're kidding.
Well, no, I'm saying like I know you've been writing this whole time. Like I don't really care what you've been writing. I mean, I know you're just taking notes.
Is there something about? Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've been asking you. It's kind of silly. So what I'm signaling to you is I think. What was it like to say you get lonely sometimes?
I've always lived with work, so I've always had people around. And now that I live alone, it's different because now I live alone. I don't live with family. I don't live with parents. I used to have a girlfriend, excuse me. I used to live with her. I don't live with her. Obviously, we broke up. I live alone, right? So it's like for me, it's like it's different. I get lonely sometimes.
Sounds lonely.
Yeah, it is. But I have friends and I have, my parents close by and stuff. So it is what it is.
Can I think for a second?
Think.
I'm going to need a second, okay?
Take your time.
Is it okay to be lonely?
Yes, it is. I used to think it wasn't, but it is.
Help me understand that.
It's okay to be lonely. It's okay to not have to rely on somebody for happiness. It's okay to find yourself, find happiness within yourself. Like you don't need to be always with somebody. You're allowed to be lonely and find happiness and sleep alone, and you know, you're allowed to do that stuff. I think doing that sometimes can be good for people. I think people need to find themselves by being alone, you know?
Okay. I'm going to just share a couple thoughts. Let me know, like, it's kind of like a shot in the dark. Like, normally I talk to people a little bit more, but you let me know what sits with you and what doesn't. So the first thing is you kind of mentioned, early on that you sort of feel numb. Or desensitized, I think was the word that you used. And I just heard, because you see, I don't get that from you. So you seem pretty animated. You seem actually pretty in touch with your feelings. Like you had a really like poetic description of the grind and how it's like addictive and it makes you feel good, but it like comes at a cost, right? Like there are the high highs, there are the low lows. And the scary thing about the grind is even when you're flying at the top, in the back of your mind, there's like, okay, is this plane going to crash? And then it can feel really good to like have those thoughts and beat them back with like something growing bigger and getting more viral and like, so it's almost like you're conquering your demons because you have all these doubts and stuff and like you're going higher and you're going higher and you're going higher. And as you put it, you beat the game. And then, I saw a couple things from you that I just haven't seen before, except when you mentioned the loneliness. So like the first thing is you called attention to me writing, which I know, I've been writing the whole time and like, I know I've been writing the whole time, but there seemed to be something like what I actually felt in that moment is like a little bit of a sensitivity, like, what are you writing? Like, there's like what did I just show you that you fucking caught is like, honestly, what it felt like to me. And then you also said like it is, and then I asked you like, hey, like, is it okay to be lonely? And you kind of said, yeah, right. Which I think you're a smart guy, Aiden. I think that you use your mind to deal with a lot of your stuff. I don't know how else to put it. And then you gave like a really positive answer, right? Like it's okay to be lonely. It's okay to like feel these things. And then you kind of said it is what it is, which is something that people say when something is not good. Like,
well, there's perks, there's pros and cons with everything, right? I think there's times where I'm like, damn, I wish I had somebody with me. I wish I can enjoy life with somebody. I wish I can, you know what I'm saying? I think, there's pros and cons out of everything. I think, when you saw me, I knew you were writing this entire time. When you saw me talk to the loneliness part, yeah. I mean, like, look, man, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's good to be lonely, but there's times where I also wish I wasn't lonely. Of course, I'll admit it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that too, it's kind of like there's pros and cons, right? So like I'm with you. There's pros and cons to being lonely. There's pros and cons to being married. I'm with you. I think intellectually it's spot on, but I'm kind of noticing that like anytime you kind of come up on emotion, your mind kind of steps in and sort of says like, oh, there are pros and cons, right? It's okay to kind of feel this way, but something interesting happens is that you actually move away from the feeling by saying that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I like I said, my emotions are fucked. Like I feel like I don't feel sometimes. I try to step away. I try to move away. I try to get away from the feeling part of things sometimes.
Yeah, and why do you think your emotions are fucked?
throughout my whole life. I've always had trauma, and I've always not really like went through it. I've always kind of just like put it to the side.
Um, do you feel comfortable sharing? I mean, I don't think this is the place to really air out all your traumas, but can you help me understand? Huh?
Yeah, yeah. So the most traumatic thing that ever happened to me was, check this out, right? This is a story. When I was 12, I was sleeping. My my uncle came in, stabbed me with a knife in my sleep. See the mark right there? It's a scar for life. And he thought I worked for the FBI. He was on some meth.
Holy shit,
And
man.
then, yeah. I was 12 years old, and in my sleep, and I woke up to a knife, and I pulled it out, and I went to the hospital. Yep.
How does it feel to say that?
I don't care. They make jokes about it with me. They've actually helped me out a lot. You know,
Who's they?
my stream, my chat, my audience, like
How do
my
they?
viewers.
What joke? I'm confused.
Well, they just make me like, I think sometimes humor fills voids in a way, like sick, dark, twisted
Sure.
jokes. You know what I mean? Like, I think my audience, my viewers, sometimes help me like they make jokes about it, so it's like it makes it like a little bit. They try to add light to the darkness of it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sounds. I mean, humor's a way that human beings cope with stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, so even though that was kind of physically traumatic, did it? How did you understand that? Did it
At a
bother
young
you?
age, at a young age, I didn't. At a young age, I didn't, and my parents told me, they said, you don't have to go to school for however long you want. We're gonna put you in therapy. We're gonna do all these things and all that. And I said, nah, I want to go to school. It happened on a Friday. I said I want Friday night after school. I said, nah, I'm going to school Monday. They got me a cast. I went to school. I made up a lie to everybody in my class. I said that I tripped on a rusty nail. I forgot what I said. And I ran with it.
Are you? I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Like, that's a hard 12-year-old dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I think I left out something as well. I also witnessed my grandparents having sex at 8 years old as well. Not
And
witness, well, kind of witness in a way, shadows and noises and stuff.
well, so it's kind of interesting because you call that trauma, and like it's definitely trauma.
Yeah, for sure it is. For sure it is.
And yet like what I'm actually getting the most of you from, or what I'm feeling the most of from you, is actually like pride.
Not pride. I just try to bring it pride. I try to bring light to it. It is dark. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
doctor. It is dark. It's fucked up. I just try to bring light to the situation. Like, I think adding a piece and a scent of dark humor to stuff is, in my opinion, the best way to kind of put light over it. Like, it's like I I I just like, that's how I guess I've been dealing with it. I've always just cracked dark, crazy dark jokes.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I think literally like we can talk about this if you want to at some point, but I
Love to, yeah.
literally earlier today. Let's see if I can find this. Here it is. No, I'm actually reading a bunch of papers about coping mechanisms and trauma,
Yeah.
and just how they kind of change and stuff. But it's kind of interesting. So I'm noticing that you bring a lot of positive to the negative.
And that's what I try to do, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at it like this, and people always sometimes are like, damn, I wish when I was growing up I didn't have it like that. And I wish sometimes like it would be easier and stuff. And I don't want to sound ignorant. There's definitely people that have had it way worse than me, but I've been through some stuff. You know what I mean? Probably there's people that are to hear this that have been through way, way worse than me, you, etc. Right? So I don't want to sound ignorant, but I think that you got to sometimes take the cards you're dealt with and just try your hardest in life and give it all you got. And I think part of that is finding a way to literally kind of make your mind strong. So I think when you go through these traumatic things in life, you want to try to some type of like light to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm hearing that. Yeah, I hear you, dude. So like, what I'm getting from you is that you're a survivor. You're a thriver despite your circumstances.
Yeah, I would believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of evidence for that.
Yeah.
So what bothers you about? So when you kind of say like, you didn't feel much when you were traumatized, like help me understand that a little bit.
I just so when I was a kid, I just never liked talking about my feelings. I always just kept it in. Like even though something bad would happen to me, I would always just find a way to just kind of like change topic and just not want to talk about it, and just not want to let it out, and just really just keep it in and put it in the back of my head and deal and think about it later.
What
You know what I
what
mean?
kind of stuff would you keep in?
Anything in general. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, just with any type of trauma, any type of like whether it be my parents fighting, or whether it just be my grandparents having sex in front of me, or whether it be getting stabbed in the knife in my sleep, whatever it was, any type of trauma like that, I would just always try to not really talk about it, put it in the back of my head and forget about it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're actually doing something similar even today. It sounds like you learned a different way of doing that, which is looking at the positive, trying to put light on it, cracking jokes.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing that maybe at one point you were like avoiding it or whatever, and now you've learned a different way to like move away from it.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you, what's the problem with like not feeling a whole lot?
Scary. It's scary because like I'm wondering, one day is this going to catch up to me? Am I going to one day wake up alone at 40 years old and not have any feeling at all, any type of like, I don't know, any type of like ambition, any type of like feeling and admiration. If I said that right, sorry. If I Any type of love, any type of just happiness in general. Like, am I gonna be this empty, having like this void? Like, am I gonna? I don't know. I'm scared. What am I gonna feel in the next 10 years?
What do you think you're going to feel in the next 10 years?
I don't know. Hopefully good. I mean,
Has your fear of this grown or shrunk over the last 4 years?
of what? Being scared about my
Yeah,
future?
yeah.
I would just say living in the moment more, and I think just not really trying to think about it because I'm scared. I just listen. I think nobody wants to be alone when they're older, bro. Are you married?
Yeah.
Like, that's your person. You know what I mean? Like, that's your best friend. That's your companion. That's like your rock. So like, you're good, right? How old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
40.
You're good, brother. You're good. I'm worried at 40 years old, I'm not gonna be able to find someone genuine enough to love me for me. I worry that stuff sometimes, man. I worry, you know, I just worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a super legit worry, dude. Like, I think um, you said earlier that you're known on the internet as Aiden Ross.
Yeah.
But you were Aiden. And I absolutely, like, there's a decent chance you'll end up with a string of people who are not interested in Aiden, but are interested in Aiden Ross.
99% of people. That's right.
It's fucking scary, man. It sounds like the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah, but I saw myself up for it, man, and I used to feel bad about it, and I used to hate it in a way. But it's like, I'm blessed at the end of the day, man. Like,
There,
I've
you're
done a
doing
lot.
it again. What are you doing?
What am I doing? Oh, adding positive to the negative.
Yeah.
Damn, damn, that's crazy. You're right. I did just do that.
Right. So the interesting thing is like I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to say something.
Please.
I'm really curious, and can you do me a solid? Can I ask you for something?
Go ahead.
I just want you to tell me what your response is. Good, bad, whatever.
Okay.
Aiden, how would you feel if I said I'm sad for you?
Right now, you just said, Ian, I'm sad for you.
Yeah.
I would ask, well, I'd be like, why are you sad for me?
Because I mean, you just told me that there's a 99% chance that people are going to be with you for the wrong reason. You're worried about being lonely.
My initial response would be like, yeah, man, it sucks, but what can I do? the truth. I mean, like, what could I do about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it would be like, yeah, it does suck, but I mean, like, what can I do about it?
It
For
is
real.
what it is.
It is what it is. That's the type of vibe, literally, yeah. But then when I'm alone in my bed, I'm gonna cry tonight. And I'm gonna be like, damn, doctor was right. Like, damn.
I can't tell if that's a joke or not.
I get my feelings sometimes, man. It depends. Like, it depends on the type of day I'm having.
And what kind of day you're having today?
Good day.
Does that make it more or less likely that you'll cry at night?
Well, I was adding a little bit of joke to that statement. I'll never cry at night alone. You know what I mean? Like, I just sometimes get my thoughts. There's sad thoughts that come in, and it's just more thoughts that are just like thinking about my future. It happens every so often, but it just depends on the type of day I'm having. That's all.
How's this going?
I like this.
What do you like about it?
I like having an actual conversation with somebody. That's a good conversation, a serious conversation. I don't get a lot of these unless it's with my parents or close friends. And I think meeting like, you're a stranger to me. I'm a stranger to you. I think meeting a stranger and having like an intellectual conversation like this it's nice. I like it. It's something different that I usually don't do.
Well, no wonder you're lonely.
Damn. I mean, I try.
No,
I'll tell you what. I know.
What did you hear there?
I was like, damn, like, what? Damn, dog. Like, why'd you say it like that?
Help me understand what you heard me say.
I said it's like, it's rare for you to have intellectual conversations with strangers. You said, right. No, that's wonder why you're lonely.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, you're right, but it's hard to have intellectual conversations with strangers that want to leech off me and use me for things. It's harder to see the real in people, you know?
Yeah. So like,
yeah.
it wasn't a dig at you.
I know. No, I know you're good. I know.
Right. Cause like, dude, it's like, it's hard. Like you don't even get to have regular conversations with people, bro.
Yeah. So like in person, when somebody recognizes me, they'll come up to me and ask for a picture. They won't even want to have a conversation with me. It's the same script every time. Hey, Aiden, can I get a picture? They walk away. It's no, how's your day going? It's no, I'm good, man. What do you do? What's your name? It's no, hey, man, I try to conversate sometimes. I do, but it's like, I would love to have a conversation with people who know me. I'd love to get to know them as well. You know?
Yeah. I'm hearing, Aiden, that you sometimes get treated almost like an object.
Yeah, for sure.
And and let me, like, by the way, you got to tell me if I overstep or something, okay? But like, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you just think about it for a second, and anyone who gets treated like an object gets treated like Aiden Ross instead of Aiden, like they're gonna be lonely.
My point, my man. It's gonna be very hard for me to find the one. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little bit more optimistic. I think.
You think I will? You think I will?
I think so.
Thank you, man.
I think you absolutely can. So can I tell you why?
Tell me why.
I think you're good at growing. Like, I think you're good at growing. Like you put your mind to something and you work on it. Like, you're a resilient guy. I think you had to learn certain ways to survive, and you paid the price for that in a weird way. So, like, the weird thing is, if you look at our brain, like, our brain can't selectively suppress emotions. So what it learns how to do is shut them. Like, you can turn down the volume, but it's not like you can just turn down the volume on some instruments. There's a song playing. You either turn down the volume or you turn it up. And what I'm hearing from you is that you turn down the volume a lot. And over time, you've actually learned healthier ways to turn down the volume. And so what you used to do is, like, I'm not quite sure what. Not really. I mean, we can, if you want to, at the end, I can pull out an iPad and walk you through, like, you know, almost like lecture style, like what traumatic coping mechanisms look like in the evolution of coping mechanisms and stuff. But, and then now I'm hearing like a lot of, you know, something that is on the verge. So a lot of humor, but also like a lot of like fatalistic acceptance and almost like resignation.
Yeah.
right?
So is that a good or bad thing?
It's neither. It's a strategy. So I think that on the one hand, if you don't like, because here's the thing, if you were alone at the age of 40, how would you feel about that?
If I was alone at the age of 40, but I don't know, doctor. I don't know how my brain's gonna be. I don't know.
Let,
You know what I mean?
let me toss something out. You see if it sits with you, okay?
Okay.
I think you would be like kind of okay with it because you knew that this would happen, right? You always knew that the deck was stacked against you. 99% of people are going to see Aiden Ross and not Aiden. Like you saw it coming. Like you fucking see it coming. Even today.
True. Yeah.
And so like you're not going to be surprised.
Yeah, but doctor, who wants to be 40 and alone, bro?
I mean, I think no one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing. What are you feeling when you say that?
Who wants to be 40 years old and alone? You know, it's just like when I think about it, it's like, damn, like it's a realization. It's like, who actually wants to be 40 years old and alone, waking up alone? I could have $1 billion in my bank account, doctor. I still would not want to be 40 and alone. I'd rather have less than $1 billion.
You would trade that much money for what?
A real one. A best friend, a companion.
What's it like to want that?
I just think like right now it's like I'm chilling. But I just think like later on it's gonna be harder.
I think it hurts.
Right now, nah. Because I'm so distracted. Right now there's so much going on. I'm like distracted. I'm doing a lot. When I'm not streaming, I'm still, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing
but
something.
so when you say it's gonna be hard, like what does that mean? I think
when I'm like 30, most of my friends are gonna be married with kids. And they're gonna be doing their own lives, and they're not really gonna have time to be kicking on me anymore. And I don't know what I'm gonna be doing with this stuff anymore. Hopefully, I'm still doing it. Who knows? But if I'm sitting there, I got nothing going on, no career at that point. I don't even think that far, like as far as like career wise. But I mean, like I like to think because I don't know this game. I don't know. I don't know what I'm really doing. But I just wanna figure out.
Aiden, it's okay. It's okay to be scared, dude.
Yeah, I think that's what makes me human.
Yeah, and I think when you don't let yourself be scared, that's what makes you not human.
Yeah.
That's what makes you a robot.
True.
Right? And I think that there's like, I mean, by the way, am I like beating you up here?
You're not. You're making me think, actually. I like thinking.
Okay. How do you feel about feeling?
I love feeling. I love feeling feelings.
Are you feeling feelings now?
I am feeling feelings with you.
What are you feeling?
I'm feeling very curious. I'm feeling very like open-minded. I'm feeling very interested in this conversation. For real. I really am. I like it a lot.
Okay. Okay. So let me toss some stuff at you, okay? We doing all right? Can I keep going?
I love it. Yeah, of course, bro. Of course.
I mean, so here's kind of like I think it's like it's really interesting because I think you intellectually understand what you feel. I think you just won't let yourself feel it. Right? So like you recognize you're scared. You recognize you're lonely. You know, you use these words that are like emotionally bland. So you say it's going to be hard. But like and I get that, and you're right. It's 100% accurate, but it's also like you're turning off the color on the TV, right? Like
true. Like, okay, doctor, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever? Obviously, I'm not trying to bring this up. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. I completely understand. Before your wife, like you were with many women, right? That you probably had no connection with.
Sure.
What I'm trying to get at is like if you get with a lot of girls, there's no connection or anything. It's called like in my generation, I don't know what it's called in your boomer generation. For me, it's called fucking hoes. It gets old. Like nobody wants to keep fucking hoes. I don't want to be 30, 40 years old fucking bitches. I want to be 40 years old with a wife and kids. That's the goal, correct? Right? Like that, like that's like the fulfillment. But I think like when you're if you do that for your whole life, I feel like it's depressing and there's a void and you're not fulfilling anything. It's just like you're fucking a bunch of hoes, so you realize that you're the hoe. Like you're the one that's doing that shit. That's how it is now. And my generation is fucked up, doctor. You know how bad like these girls, doctor, are so fucked, bro. It's bad. It's very bad. It's getting very hard as it is being me. And on top of that, it's gonna be hard in general because these girls nowadays, doctor, they're fucking. It's bad, bro. I might just go gay. Fuck it. It's a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm sorry. I'm already talking.
Sure. So let me tell you what I heard.
Yeah.
I think there was a really important communication in there. I just don't know if my boomer ass can decipher it. So help me out, bro.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is that like there's a certain amount of pleasure in sexual activity.
Yes.
But there's a lack of fulfillment.
Of course. After I nut, I want the bitch to not talk. I'm not sorry. I'm just sorry. I want the girl, the female, the queen, to not speak to me, look at me, leave.
Why?
Yes. That's unfulfillment sex. It doesn't make sense. Why am I having unfulfillment sex?
But why do you want those things? Why don't you want them to talk to you afterward?
There's no point.
What? But so this is what I'm confused about. So you're engaging in this behavior and there's some rules to the behavior and then you feel unfulfilled. And then as you, in your words, Aiden, you become the hoe. So like, I think somewhere in there, like you end up in a, like, I don't know what that means, but like, I don't think it's good.
It's not good. That's why I stopped fucking getting with girls for no reason. Like I stopped doing that.
Right.
Like, I don't. Yeah. There's no point. So, like it's definitely not good. It's post-nut clarity. You know what that is, obviously, right?
Sure.
After I nut, like in the moment, like I like.
So what are you looking for before?
To get my nut off.
Okay, but like, and then how do you? But post-nut, you're telling me post-nut clarity is unfulfilling and makes you feel like a hoe?
Yeah, but in the moment, doc, it feels good. I mean, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, so sure. So like, sex is fun. I'm with you. Okay. But like what I'm kind of pointing out is like, you're engaging in behavior that makes you feel cheap. That makes you feel unfulfilled.
Yes. Correct. That's why I'm telling you, like, I don't see the point. It gets old. Like, I feel like when you get with girls for an unfulfillment, post-nut clarity, it's pointless. It gets old after a while. You know what I mean?
Yes. So maybe this is a whole conversation for a different day. I'm just going to toss this out there. There is a connection between the way you treat yourself and the way that you treat other people.
100%.
Right? So
yeah.
You hearing what I'm saying?
No. Can you break it down, please?
Yeah, sure. So like, I hear you use a particular kind of language and also engage in a particular kind of relationship with people that you're sexually active with.
Yeah, because doctor, there's a difference between a girl, like a genuine, like, okay, girls are girls, but doctor, there's a difference between a girl and a hoe. Like it's different. It's different. Like a queen and a hoe, it's two different girls. Like I'm trying to tell you, like I want to find a queen. Fuck the hoes. The hoes got it. They can, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no. Like I don't.
What's the difference?
I gotta start. What's the difference, doctor? You're not gonna marry a hoe. You're gonna marry a queen.
What's the difference?
A hoe is a girl that if I literally DM right now, she'll literally come over first night, give it up. Like I don't gotta take her out. I don't gotta conversate with her. It's just like, you know what I'm trying to say?
So.
That is a hoe. I don't want to wife that. You wouldn't want either. You wouldn't. Trust me. You wouldn't. Because you would not. They're soulless.
You know nothing about my relationship, right?
Well, no, I'm just assuming nobody wants to wife a hoe, doc.
So here's what I'm hearing, to be honest, Aiden. I think a lot of it's in your head. Like, so I've seen relationships that start off with sexual promiscuity that end up that are happily married.
Yeah.
And I've seen relationships that they wait until marriage that end up in divorce.
Yeah, but no, you're not wrong. That's why like 70% of there's like, isn't the divorce rate like higher than it's ever been right now?
I don't know. I don't. It's been a while. It's been high for a while.
Yeah.
It's about 50%, like sub 50.
Crazy. And you know, people that aren't even divorced, some of them, not all of them, I'm not going to assume, but most of them, they're unhappy and they want to get divorced, but they won't because of financial support, because they have kids, etc. So like a lot of people are unhappy in their marriages that are still actively in their marriages, you know? So
Sure. I mean, I think this is getting to, because I think a lot of this has to do with the way that you perceive these people. So like, I know this sounds kind of weird, but like, it sounds like your determination of whether someone is worthy or not worthy of marriage has to do with their behavior. That's what I'm hearing.
100%. Definitely.
Right. So I know it sounds kind of weird, but like whether someone is worthy or not may have to do with your attitude too.
100%. But you have to understand, like, you're not wrong what you just said. That's why I stopped doing it. Like, if I DM a girl, what are you doing tonight? Come over, or whatever. She comes over and like I put on a movie. I know what's about to happen. It's like I don't have, like, it's like it doesn't feel like, it's like, how do I put this? After I'm done with what I want to do, I want her out. It's not by being a bad person. Like, I'm not a bad person for that. I promise you, I'm not.
No, I mean, I think if like if it's consensual and people are not interested in romantic attachments and like two people want to get together and have sex, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? As long as you're not disrespectful and it's consensual.
I would say there's not, but like, actually, I agree with you on that. There's like nothing wrong with, you know what I mean? Like two people coming together and do what they want to do and part ways, 100%. But like, I'm a sapiosexual. You know what that is?
Attracted to intelligence?
No, I mean demisexual. Like I'm attracted to like someone that like I have feelings for. Now I'm at the point in my life where I can only have sexual stuff with somebody I actually like I have feelings for. I can't do stuff with girls I have no.
Sure. So yeah. But like, what determines whether you have feelings for someone?
If I like them and they like me and we compensate and I feel good energy and I feel really good around them and they feel really good around me.
Okay. So I'm going to toss something out there.
Sure.
Can I think for a second?
Yeah, doctor, let me pee real quick. Is that okay?
Absolutely, man. Go. This may take longer than 2 hours. He's like honest guy. You got to give him that. He's very authentic. Tries. You got a lot of genuineness. Very genuine. Okay. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm all right. How you doing?
Good.
I didn't wash my hands.
So, whatever, man. It's your place. You live alone.
Oh.
So, okay. How confident are you in the stuff that you're explaining to me? That there's like two kinds of women in this world.
Pretty confident.
Okay. And help me understand where that confidence comes from.
Being with hoes and being with queens. There's two differences.
Okay. So what does it feel like to be with one versus the other?
A hoe you want to have sex with and then you want her to get out. The queen you could have sex with. I call it making love. Okay, because you guys both like each other. It's different. It's better. It feels better. You know what I'm saying? And then after you're done with the queen sex, you guys cuddle, you rub each other, you watch TV, you watch more TV.
So I know it sounds kind of weird, Aiden, but what I'm hearing is that the difference isn't in the person. The difference is in your reaction to the person.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So I know it sounds kind of weird, but if the difference is in you,
Not necessarily. Okay, so check this out, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a girl named Tasha. Tasha, hold on one second. Sorry, here's Tasha fucks Larry, and then she fucks Joseph, and then she fucks Aiden. Back to back to back nights. That is a hoe.
okay. What is that? What are you saying?
I'm trying to break it down. Like, that's like a hoe. That's you know what I'm saying? So a queen, it's about my defining of the behavior of these women, but a queen is someone who, how do I say this? It's like in their own, like they're
Aiden,
okay, hold on.
Forget about everything you're explaining for a second.
Okay.
And listen to you. So when I ask you what's the difference, you say that the way that you feel with them is different.
Yes.
Right? Like that's it, because with both of them, there's intercourse. But in one case, it's fucking, and in one case, it's making love. What's the difference, Aiden, between fucking and making love?
Making love is better. You know what I'm saying?
Fine, one is better. I don't know if I entirely agree with you there, but
you have a wife. You know what I mean? Like, so you know what it's like. Like, you do know what it's like, though.
Okay, the conversation for a different day. But what else is different?
When you're in love with somebody and you make love to them, it's way better than fucking.
Sure, it's better, but what makes it better?
Because when you fuck the hoe and you don't want nothing to do with them anymore. You don't want to talk, look. You want them out of your room.
Okay, so let me explain. Let me just point out. But the difference is in you. It's not in the person. You're saying you don't want to. It's the connection or lack. Okay, so the difference between fucking and making love is your emotional connection to the person.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing is like, that's not their behavior. Now, we're going to get to behavior in a second. That's coming from you.
Well, yeah, technically, yes.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to get banned for using this word hoe, but so I'm not going to use that word. Also, I consider it disrespectful. But that's fine. I mean, you use the whatever language you want to. So let me ask you this. Is it possible to fall in love with someone with whom you start off by having meaningless sex?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Right? So then like love is not determined by them. It's still something within you.
Correct. But falling in love with a hoe is a no-no.
Okay. Why?
Bad. They got hoe tendencies. They're gonna end up fucking you over. They're gonna end up divorcing you once the baby pops out, and they're gonna get some child support money. It's a no-no.
How do you know what they're gonna do?
Doc, I'm just like, they have tendencies, brother. They fuck to get to the top. They fuck for money. They fuck to
where are you getting this?
That's what hoes do. My generation, it's different, brother. You're 40. I'm 20. It's split in half. I'm telling you, my generation is bad, bro. You should see what these women do. It's very fucked up.
No, I'm asking, so just please think about the question for a second. Where are you getting your information?
My experience.
Your personal experience.
Yes. And my peers, my other people in my space, my basically like work buddies, I would say.
So this is what I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just genuinely trying to understand, right? Because I know it sounds kind of weird, but like I know your generation really well.
Oh, you do know my generation?
100%, man.
It's bad, so you can admit it's bad, right?
I think there are parts that are bad for sure.
My generation is full of a bunch of TikTok, low attention span, brain children, and like literally I said children, but obviously like the 20s, like 18, 19-year-olds. That's what I meant by that. Like it's very bad. I'm a TikTok brain myself, doctor.
So, Aiden, this may sound weird, like, and I'm not right here, okay?
Yeah.
Your generation is full of human beings trying to make it in this world, just like every generation before. The world has
100%,
changed.
I agree. Yes.
Right? I'm with you. But like, I still think it's like, you know, this is the kind of thing where I wonder a little bit about like when you engage in a transactional relationship with someone from the get-go and you treat them transactionally, I think it's reasonable that you're going to get that in return.
Right.
Right? And so like when you say like these people are going to behave like this, like I know it sounds kind of silly, but I'm really not trying to be a dick here. You understand that people's behavior is not solely based on them. It also is influenced by you.
So a girl acting and behaving like a hoe is influenced by me?
100%. Right? So like I'm a human being and you're a human being.
Right.
If I came to you and I said, Aiden, you fucknut, you don't know what you're talking about, you're all fucked up in the head. I've gone to Harvard Medical School, I am doctor, I am psychiatrist. Aiden, you don't know what you are doing, you need to get married, I will find you wife, we'll go find you nice girl. She will be good. She'll be good girl, not these people you are dating on the Tinder and the Bumble and the Hinge and all of this. Like you need to settle down now, beta.
Oh, this is not fair. Come on, bro. This is great. This is great.
Right? So like, if I approached you like that, how would you respond?
Laugh.
Okay,
Laugh.
right? So the way I interact with you is gonna determine how you interact with me.
That's correct. I actually get what you're saying. Thank you for that, putting it like that.
Right? So like my point here is that I mean, I don't know what I'm even talking about here or where this is going, but like, I don't doubt that your experience is the way that it is, but my point is that like, you know, so I work with patients who are narcissists.
Am I narcissist, by the way, you're speaking with me or no?
I don't know.
It's too early to tell yet?
Definitely too early to tell. So like from a diagnostic perspective, the diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder requires like a very long history of like understanding a lot more stuff. I think the other thing that's complicated is that content creators by definition become more narcissistic because that's the only way you can survive content creation.
Thank you for actually saying that. You're not wrong. I've changed. I think I am. I definitely give up narcissistic tendencies. You're actually 100% correct what you just said. When you're a content creator, you've been in it for a long time. Like it's like you look at view count, your money, all these things.
Yeah.
There's so many, views and.
So I'm not going to label you a narcissist or not. And if there's narcissistic behavior here, I think it's like defensive in nature. Is my gut check for most content creators. Okay.
So what do you diagnose me as? Is there anything you can diagnose me as?
I would not diagnose you with shit, bruh.
Really?
Yeah. Well, like literally, I wouldn't diagnose you with anything because this is not medical care. And if you want to understand the process of diagnosis, sorry to disappoint. No, don't worry, you're fucked up in some way. I just won't say it for me. No, I'm kidding. No.
What the fuck?
No, Aiden. So seriously, what it is that the questions that determine a diagnosis are very different from what we're doing.
Wait, doctor, can you prescribe me lean?
What is lean?
A 4.
What?
A 4.
What? I don't understand the question.
Cough syrup, promethazine, codeine. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. But can I go back to this thing about the way we relate to, so like your behavior influences someone else's behavior, right? And their behavior influences your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that like what I'm worried about is that, so you don't want to end up alone. So like, I don't want you to end up alone, Aiden. I want you to be happy. You seem like a good dude. You seem like a dude who's just doing your fucking best. And you do some things really well. And somewhere along the way, you've conceived of a worldview, which I don't think is the best.
What do you mean?
I'll get to that in a second. So, because I'm challenging your beliefs, right?
Yeah. I agree with the part where you're doing the best. I didn't know what you meant by the other part.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So like first thing to understand is that your relationships with women are not like, it's not like there's two camps of women.
Yeah, there is. There is though, doctor.
So
Like, okay, I get it. It's my influence.
You can choose to judge people that way.
Yes,
but like
that's me being ignorant. Then, if you want to say that, but yes, I will.
Yeah, you could choose to judge people that.
Yes,
but I'm telling you, like, scientifically, it's just not. It's not like there's two kinds. Like, so human beings are complex creatures.
I agree.
So like you're not a dick or a hoe or anything like that. You're just a human being who has gone through life, and your brain has wired, your psychology has wired so that you have a constellation of stuff. Like, you're a complex guy, right? Yes. There are times where you feel like a hoe because you had a lot of meaningless sex, and there are times where you feel in love, and there are times where, the scariest thing of all, you fall in love with someone who you judge as being not a queen.
Yes.
And then that's scary. And then what happens is your mind does the same shit it does with all these other emotions, where it's like, would you let yourself fall in love with someone who's not a queen?
Fuck no.
Absolutely, right? So in comes the humor, in comes the suppression, in comes the I never feel anything, in comes the like all that other shit, because somewhere along the way, so then you won't let yourself love. And then from the outside...
That's not true though, doctor. Listen, because it's not because, doctor, nobody wants to marry a hoe. Well, not nobody. I'm speaking, you're right. I'm ignorantly speaking based on my perspective. I don't want to marry a hoe.
Let me finish. I'm just talking hypothetically here, okay?
Okay, all right.
So my point is, like, if we put ourselves in the shoes of the women that you interact with, they can label you as one of two things, right? I don't even know what the fuck they are, but forget about it. They can judge you, oh, this guy's an asshole, or this guy's a prince, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And there are certainly people that are going to do that. My point is that you are a complex human being that has a lot of shit going on.
Definitely.
And that your interactions with women may be easily judged as, this guy texted me and now he's whatever, he's a player, like whatever, he's an asshole, whatever, he's toxic, whatever. They can label you with that shit, but my point is that there's a whole complicated, like, internal, like, stuff going on. You're like a whole universe in there, man.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I'll give you an example, right? Doctor, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
And you be honest, and everyone can answer this the honest way possible. Would you rather, you're already married, so just pretend you're not married. Pretend you're an 18-year-old doctor, okay? Well, what were you doing when you were 18?
Mostly playing video games. And
what game?
Maybe Diablo, StarCraft.
Okay. You're 18 years old playing StarCraft. Right?
Yeah.
There's a girl on Instagram at the time. Let's just say there's Instagram. There's a girl on Instagram who's got hella followers, shows her ass off all over Instagram, all this stuff, her tits, everything, right? You invite her over. She comes over, doc. Right away. You text her, hey, what are you doing tonight? Want to pull up? She's like, sure. Let's watch a movie tonight. The new Stranger Things came out, season. Let's watch it tonight. She pulls up. You put it on for 5 minutes. She starts rubbing your dick. You start kissing. You fuck her. Okay? You want her to leave right away because, come on, look how easy that was. You want a challenge. You don't want that. Listen to this. You go to Europe for vacation. You meet a girl. You meet a girl over in Europe. She's maybe had one or two guys. She's fully clothed. It doesn't really matter about the clothing part, but she has an intellectual conversation to you about stuff. You guys go on a couple dates. You really are starting to like this girl. She's starting to like you as well. Does it matter? I'm sorry. Which one would you rather go with?
Go with for what?
Like, which one would you rather marry? I'm sorry.
I don't think that the variables that you described would be very important for...
I completely said that wrong. I'm sorry. Like, I should have explained it and got it better. But you got to get what I'm saying. You got what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, I here's what I hear you say. You're trying to put me in a hypothetical example in which you paint someone who's like got this extreme, and then you paint someone who's got this extreme, and you're kind of pointing out to me, hey, fuck nuts, it's not that complicated. There's two types of women in this world. Which one would you rather marry, bro? Yeah. And then if I say I would rather marry this one, right? Let's say I'd rather marry the European. Then how would you feel?
Like, good shit, doctor. You're smart.
And if I said the other one?
Doctor, no, brother. That's the one you don't want to marry. Go marry the other girl. She's
Why?
better for you, bro. All right, doctor. I got you. Let me bring it out a little more.
Aiden.
This Instagram girl, she has 2 baby daddies, 2 different guys. She has 500 bodies, and she I told you she's like half naked on Instagram. Okay. This other girl, the European girl, no social media. You know what I'm saying? She has 2 bodies, and you guys hit it off intellectually. Like, you guys are like, it just feels so good. It feels like you guys are connected.
Okay.
Who would you rather marry?
So let's assume, let's say that I marry the European. I'd rather marry the European, right? But I think there's a big difference because you're presupposing that one of them has an emotional connection. The real question is because you're saying that the emotional connection. So what are you hearing me say, Aiden? I'm happy to say whatever. Like, you can construct the scenario in whatever way. Like, you get that you can construct the scenario in whatever way. If one of them has a year to live, has cancer, has HIV, has all this shit, and this is the other thing is it's subtle, right? Because you're doing something really interesting. You're adding promiscuity to a set of other negative traits.
Sorry, what's promiscuity? I'm sorry.
Having sex with a lot of people. Right? You're not saying the scenario you're giving me is rigged, right? Because it's not like you meet this person. She's only been she's intellectual. She's beautiful. She's amazing. She's a saint. She's awesome. She's European, because apparently that has some extra appeal. And she slept with 500 dudes. Right? Like, so like you're sort of creating this scenario where like there's promiscuity on one side, or like having sex with a lot of dudes, but there's also a shitload of other things. And then if I keep on saying no, what are you going to keep doing? You're going to keep on adding other shit until you get a yes.
If I was your boy, okay.
I'm talking about the scenario. I'm talking about the scenarios.
You just got to get it. You're actually politically correct the way you're wording things. You're right. Technically, there's so many different breakdowns you give me and stuff. You're not wrong. What I'm trying to say is, bro, if I have a boy who is dating a hoe, if you guys know, if you have a boy who is with a hoe, with a girl who is just wrong to him, to all these things, like,
what do you mean by wrong to him?
Sorry, not wrong to him specifically, just wrong, like a girl that has her morals all fucked up, right? And nobody's perfect, by the way. I'm just saying, like, it's as my boy. If my boy was in that situation, I'd be like, yo, bro, no, get another one. That ain't it.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Do you think people who are very sexually active can end up in happy, fulfilled marriages?
Yes. There's these things called hoe phases in my generation. Everyone goes through a hoe phase, Doc.
Okay.
I went through a hoe phase. I don't want to go through a hoe phase anymore. Now, I'm allowed to go through a hoe phase, but if a bitch goes through a hoe phase, fuck no. Send her out to the curb.
Is that a joke? Okay.
Yes.
That's a joke. Okay.
Yes.
So,
it's a joke, obviously.
So women, everyone's allowed to go through a hoe phase.
Okay. Can I be honest with you? A girl's allowed to go through a hoe phase if she's upfront honest about it. I think. Not a girl in general. I think everyone is. If you're upfront honest about your whole past, you tell them like everything what you've done, and you're very direct, and you don't find anything out like that's hidden and stuff, I'm okay with that. I think when you're older, people realize that, like, it's cool. Like, it's
yeah, I mean,
cool.
I think honesty and transparency and authenticity are important parts of a relationship.
I think so too.
Right. So,
but a lot of girls lie about their body counts. A lot of girls lie about their past and stuff. In my generation.
Well, why do you think that is?
Insecurity.
What does that mean?
Women, if a woman has a lot of bodies, she's known as a hoe in my generation.
And whose fault is that?
The girl.
I don't think so. Right? Because what the girl is trying to do is avoid your judgment.
Yeah, but you should be honest. You know,
I
my
agree.
mom said you shouldn't lie. You lie, you're gonna.
I don't know what we're talking. Okay, Andrew, let me take a step back. Is this useful? Do you think this is a good conversation?
No. Why don't we go to something that makes more sense? This is like a stupid topic.
What makes this stupid?
It just doesn't really. It's just like dumb. It's like you and I see different. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's no point to really talk about it.
I agree. I agree with you that there is less point to talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit curious. What did you hear me say about like this whole like what determines whether someone is a hoe or a queen?
Not gonna lie, doctor, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but I think like my perspective and experience on life makes me like I already have this shit like in my head. Like it is ignorant. It is like super like judgmental and stuff. Like, and I'm admitting that, but like it's like I already have like I already kind of like know like what I want in a woman. And I already kind of know what I told you, doc. I mean, I might not even fucking get what I want. Who knows?
Yeah, so I'm hearing that you're not open-minded on this topic.
Yeah, I just think we should move on.
Okay.
It's just like it's pointless. It's like it doesn't seem like it's not that it's pointless. It's just like there's a lot more topics we could have that are way more interesting.
Okay. What's pointless about this?
Because you and I see different. Like
we see different.
I think we see different, and I think you're correct with a lot you're saying in the way you're speaking. But like, I have a different perspective, I think, than you do. Like, I think like my perspective, like I've already like experienced what I've experienced, so like I'm automatically gonna think the way I think. Does that make sense? Like I already have like we don't have to talk about it more, but I just want to share one last thing with you. Is like, so I think that's what makes it worth talking about, is that you have an automatic perspective. Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
And so I think one of the really interesting things is if like as we go through life, it is very normal for us to form conclusions about how life works, how people work, right? And then the interesting thing is that if we stop and re-examine our life, we can come to different conclusions.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't have to continue.
Okay.
The reason I brought some of this stuff up in the first place, I don't even know where this came from, but
I know.
I think the one thing that I'm trying to signal to you is a couple of things. One is that it seems like having sex and making love has more to do with what's in the inside of you than it does.
Definitely. I agree.
Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, and I'll tell you why I'm even talking about this now, because I mean, I have a reason why I think this is important, is that I'm concerned, Aiden, that, so I want to help you not be alone at the age of 30, let alone 40, whatever, okay? And the thing is, just based on, once again, my experience, and the whole point of having conversations is that we're going to have different experiences of life. We're going to come to different conclusions, right? Totally cool. Right. And then the neat thing is that maybe I'm trying to tell you to get on a chair and you're just saying, fuck you. Sorry, what you were saying, like, don't climb on the table. And you're like, no, when someone tells me to climb on the table, I got to climb on the table. So I'm wondering if that's going on here. But my point is that I think, first of all, the way that you relate to women has more to do with, I feel like I'm getting a disconnection. So sometimes when you talk about it, it seems like your interactions with women are determined by them. Like, this person is this way because of their behavior. This person is this way because of their behavior.
I don't judge anybody based on their past. I come from a fucked up past. I had a whole phase myself. I'm just saying, like, I'm just, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying that you. My point is that it's determined out there. Like, women there are two types of women, right?
There's hoes and queens, 100%. Yes, in my generation, doc.
Whatever. I'm not.
No, that's not what I promise you.
And my point is that, like, something within you determines whether you're fucking or making love. It's not just them, right?
Yeah.
And the reason that's important to me is because you want to end up with someone that you want to make love with.
That's correct.
Right? And so then the question becomes, if you want to end up with someone that you want to make love with, and you can have feelings for, I'm trying to think of a word that's not hoe, but I just can't think of anything. Right? So and my point is that there could be a group of people like there could be someone out there that you fall in love with that could be a successful relationship. And I say this as someone who's worked with, just to give you an example. We don't have to get more into this. I don't need to. I just want you to understand one thing, and you don't have to understand if you disagree, is that you have a contribution. There's something in here that determines the way that you relate to people, women. That's all I want you to take away from this. And if we can agree on that, we can move on.
Wait, so say that last part again?
Something in here determines your relationship with a woman. That's it. That's all I'm asking.
It's actually right here in my brain. Yes, not my heart, my brain.
Nothing in here changes your relationship to women?
Oh, my penis!
No, your heart. I mean, sure, your penis, your brain. I can't tell if you're joking or you really don't think that.
No, like, bro, doctor, I get what you're saying. You're correct. Everything you're saying, I get it. I told you, I'm ignorant based off perspectives in my life. I'm ignorant. You're probably right. There's probably girls out there that have had a whole past that are queens now. Great. But my perspective, my generation, there's some fucked up girls who do fucked up things, and I try to not put myself in that position. So
Sure. So I think that like my point is that the way what are you hearing me conclude? That
it's my heart that basically is the reason why I differentiate women.
That you what?
Divide women up to queens and O's.
No. No, actually, not exactly. So here's what I'm saying. All I want you to just really think about is that in a relationship with another human being, that relationship is not determined by who they are. It's determined
by what I feel.
They bring a piece of it to the table and you bring a piece of it to the table.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And now we're going to get to like the stuff that we were talking about earlier, which is like the lack of sensitivity that you have. So you feel numb in some way.
Correct.
Okay. So it feels weird to go back here. So
no, go ahead. I'm cool with this, bro. We can go back to the other topic. Go ahead.
But so I'm just so derailed. Give me a second.
Why are you derailed?
There's a whole different energy and dynamic to this the conversation we just had about relationships to the conversation we were having before.
I agree. The energy definitely shifted, Doc. I agree.
Right. So it just takes me a second to like move away from that. I was also, the language that you used changed the way that I felt in the conversation.
Well, yeah, I used hoe and I used queen. Yes.
Yeah. So it's just, that affects me.
Yeah. I mean, why does it affect you?
Why does it affect me, or how does it affect me?
Both. Why and how does it affect you? Why
the first thing is that I feel uncomfortable and defensive being in a conversation where that language is being used.
That's just our generation, how we speak. Like, it's like you said it when you first joined. I'm a boomer. Right?
I don't need a reason. I'm just sharing with you why it's hard for me to make the shift.
Okay, but I'm just trying to leave that out there. That's all.
It's like, you use that language and whatever. You can call it generational if you want to.
I think it is.
Huh?
I said I believe it's generational. Most people
and so that's just why it's hard for me to shift back into like where we were before.
Yeah.
It takes me a second.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, because like here, you're schooling me about dating in your generation, and that's a different feel from like, let's talk about sadness, loneliness. I think that they're both actually really productive conversations. I really appreciate you for having both of them with me. Like, I feel honored to be a part of both of those conversations. Also scared to be a part of the last one, but like I can hold two feelings at the same time, right?
No, don't be scared, man. It's just like, people got to realize like there's really modern day pimping going on in the world. Like, for example, these guys are now signing OnlyFans girls. You know what I'm saying? And it's like modern day pimping in a way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
what's wrong with me being scared?
I guess you're right. Scared is good. It's a feeling.
Yeah, right. I can be scared.
Yeah, I'm just saying my generation.
I appreciate you looking out for me. So what I heard when you said that was that you're looking out for me, and I felt the love there. That was nice of you. Thank you.
I got you. Doctor.
Well, yeah.
No, you're gonna ask. I actually want to hear what you're gonna ask.
I was gonna ask you to remind me of what we were talking about and what feels relevant to you.
I forgot what we were talking about before. I think the desensitized thing.
So when we were talking about relationships, how did you feel?
It was honestly just interesting.
So interesting is, I know it sounds kind of weird, is not really a very good word for a feeling. I'm not trying to be judgmental there, right?
No,
So
you're not.
I don't.
It's very basic. I agree.
Right, right. So like, what do you think you were feeling in that conversation?
I liked having that conversation because it's like I enjoyed it because it felt good. Well, not good, but it's just like I knew. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like I know the difference between my perspective on life, how I feel about certain women. Now that might change when I'm older, doctor. That might change when I'm 25 or 30. You know what I'm saying? As of right now, I just know the difference between you know what I'm saying?
Can I share with? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just know the difference in my generation between a hoe and a queen.
So here's what I felt from you emotionally. I felt confidence. I felt certainty. I felt you being on sure footing.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
What's the last word you used?
Sure footing, like you're on solid ground.
Yeah, I'm standing on it for sure.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah.
Right. So like I think that there's something very attractive about all of that because it makes you feel good.
Oh, thank you. Call me attractive.
I mean, I meant attractive for you.
Okay.
Right. So like, do you see how like emotionally there's no numbness when you're talking about that?
I do. The numbness isn't in really conversations. I like having conversations. I feel from conversations. Like the numbness comes from, I guess, daily life outside of conversations. The desensitization comes from that.
Okay. So I've detected numbness in you in our conversations, but when we're talking about other things. So for example, when you say it is what it is, I think that's you actually like numbing yourself out a little bit, right? Because like, what are you going to do about it? Right?
What am I going to do? Exactly.
Like there's no point in having the feeling.
Correct.
And then the feeling goes away.
That's right.
Right. So I think there's numbness. And like what I'm kind of noticing is that conversation about relationships was like really lively, right? It's like super energetic. I'm feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling on solid footing. And so there was like a little bit of reverse Uno here, where here I am talking about sadness and loneliness. And I'm like, fucking, I can swim in that shit all day. And it was kind of like a reverse of our positions. Suddenly you're schooling me.
I'm not trying to school you. I'm just want to inform you. I'm going to say this, and I mean this in like the kindest. Don't take it the wrong way, please. And I'm going to say it. Like, just listen to what I say. And I got to say it all right. When I was 20, or not even me, I'm not using me as an example. I don't know who's 20 years old in here. And I don't want this to sound ignorant. A 20-year-old in my generation is smarter than a 20-year-old in your guys' generation.
Okay.
And I'll explain why. They're more, how do I say it? Enhanced in a way. Like, we got this. My uncle doesn't know how to use a fucking phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't want to say this in the wrong way. It's going to sound so dumb. I really don't want to, like, you got to really understand what I'm saying. I'm sometimes really bad at explaining things, but like, a 20-year-old in my generation, I feel like, in a way, is more experienced than a 20-year-old in your generation. So I think that, like, does that make sense?
So here's what I'm hearing. So this conversation has the same energy to me as the last conversation that we had, which is sure footing, confidence. You really have a clear view of the world and everything makes sense.
Yes.
So I see a lot of excitement from you, but I don't think that this is having this conversation. Like, you can school me all. I don't mind being schooled by you, by the way.
I'm not trying to school you. I'm not trying to school you at all. I'm not trying to do that at all.
I'm going to stop using that word because that's whatever. My point is that this conversation is going to be the same as before, where I can ask you about your opinion.
It's going to go back and forth. It doesn't even matter because we're not going to agree.
The other thing, it's not about not agreeing. Whatever. Sure. But I think the other thing is that in these conversations, we're not talking about you anymore. You're talking about society. You're talking about generations. There's no room in there for your experiences and your personal feelings or mine. Does that make sense? Because we're commenting about that shit over there.
I get what you're saying. It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it's like that's why I kept saying it's my perspective on the other topic. I kept saying like it might sound ignorant, it might be ignorant. I'm just saying how I feel based off my experiences. You know what I mean?
Sure. So, what would you like to talk about, Aiden?
I don't know. Well, I was doing great this year, lifting weights and losing weight and stuff. And then I went through something traumatic, and then I started sipping lean.
You started what?
Sipping lean, sipping codeine and promethazine, codeine and yeah.
And what makes that? What feels important about that to you to talk about today?
'Cause it's bad.
What's bad about it?
It's just like it's a fix that I did when I was going through something traumatic and I was doing super good in the gym, and it kind of like ruined a lot of things around me, and it's just like a super super bad reliant fix. You know what I mean? It's just drugs. It's like liquid heroin. That's what they call it. So it's bad.
Have you considered seeing a professional about something like that?
I don't need to. I haven't done it in a couple months. I stopped. I wasn't highly addicted, but I was on it for a while.
Is it okay if I ask you a little bit about seeing professionals, like professional mental health people?
Yeah, ask me whatever you want.
So I'm hearing that it's not a problem anymore, so you don't need to see a professional.
Yeah. I don't think about it. I don't crave it at all. I don't. You know what I mean?
Then why talk about it?
I'm just giving you an update what I did this year.
Okay.
I was in the gym. Yeah.
So just kind of like this is what you went through.
Yeah. And then I was on this path of kind of like in this, I guess people call it the controversial era, where people that really don't know me, that aren't a part of my community, that just don't know me, they would see these articles and things and just assume I was an asshole. I would say things like there are two genders in this world. I made a tweet saying there are two genders.
Okay.
Like I went through like this controversial era, and that was labeled controversial. So when I made a tweet saying there was two genders, my talent agency dropped me from it. They said, "You look what he tweeted this morning. He said something super controversial."
And what do you understand? Tell me about that. What's going on with that?
So I mean, I slowed down. I stepped out from making like tweets like that and stuff. But when I tweeted that out, it hurt a lot of people. And I didn't do it to hurt people. I did it because a week before that, Twitter was on my ass about something old. My motive was like, cool, you guys want to target me for this? I'm going to make a tweet, Twitter, and show you guys that, because they were trying to cancel me for something, cancel on Twitter. So I was like, okay, watch, I'm about to make a controversial tweet, try to cancel me now. And it was my craziest tweet. I think it has like 600,000 likes and like millions and millions of views.
And what were you kind of... Is that kind of the same sort of like thing where it's like if someone tells you don't do something, you're like, fuck you, I'm going to do it?
Not really. I did it because I did a tweet because I knew it would stir. I knew people would like talk about it. I knew it would be controversial in my generation, even though it's not. But I made the tweet because I wanted to show cancel culture. Fuck you, cancel culture. Watch. And I did that tweet, and now people still, I think it's like, yeah. It's like people, like, it didn't matter. Like, I didn't get canceled.
What makes you want to do that?
I wanted to show people, fuck cancel culture. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tweet out there's two genders. They're going to try to cancel me. I didn't get canceled.
I understand that you wanted to show people something. What was driving you to prove your point?
The tweet, when I tweeted it, I knew it was going to stir. So, like, cancel culture was trying to be on my ass. Oh, what drove me to make the tweet was so, like, a week before, cancel culture was on my ass trying to cancel me on Twitter. And I was like, fuck you, cancel culture. I'm not going to go for that. So I'm going to tweet out there's two genders. And they were even more mad.
Okay. So this is great. Maybe we've hit our limit for the day, but maybe not. So let me point something out to you. So I'm asking you engaged in a behavior, right? You tweeted something out.
Yeah.
And I'm asking you, why did you do that? And then the answer that you give me is something else outside of you, right? They were trying to cancel you.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm curious about is stuff in the outside world happens. And then stuff in the outside world enters you. And then something else happens. And then you feel like doing something else.
Correct.
Right? Like there's a stimulus from the outside world, and then there's a response from you to the outside world. With me?
Yes, I'm with you.
What goes on in the middle? Like, what happens within you when they try to cancel you? Like, that's what I'm asking. I'm curious about how does one action that is done to you result in a response from you? Why did you do that instead of apologizing or any other of the 1,000 things that you could have done? Like not tweet anything.
I think maybe just the table thing we talked about. Like I like doing the opposite. I like most people would fold and apologize. I didn't care. I got banned from Twitch. That soft, one-sided platform. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, fuck Twitch, fuck this, and that led to more shit, more stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, I just think, why would I apologize for saying there's two genders? There are two genders. So it's like I did it. Yeah.
So like when you say why would you do that? Do you? I feel emotional energy when you make that statement.
But why though? I'm saying like you said
Forget
like
about
why
the logic.
No, I'm just trying to ask you like why though when you ask like why didn't you just apologize or do another route? It's because they're like what would I be apologizing for?
Sure, I'm not suggesting that you should apologize. What I'm kind of pointing out is that this is where I think the emotional numbness comes in. So generally speaking, when someone says something to me, it affects me in some way. And then my drive to act and the way in which I act is shaped by my internal environment. Right? So if someone says, fuck you, Alok, you're an asshole. And then I can feel one of two different things. I can feel ashamed. And if I feel ashamed, I will apologize. Or I can feel angry. I can feel affronted. I can feel territorial. And then if I feel angry, affronted, and territorial, I will turn around and I will say, screw you. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So the behavior and the weird thing is that the mind actually, the logic follows the emotion, not the other way around.
I just think, I actually agree with that.
Right? So if we're talking about emotional numbness, I mean, I'm just picking this as a random. I don't care what happened on Twitter. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
But I think that like what I'm kind of pointing out to you is that earlier you talked about being addicted to the high of grinding. And we're talking a little bit about how you have some of these feelings and you're not quite sure what to do with them. And you sort of like, you do a good job actually, right? So you learn how to crack jokes. You learn how to like accept it is what it is. You can't necessarily change it. There's no point in worrying, but the worry is still there at the back of your mind. And what I'm pointing out to you is that a lot of your behaviors, even jumping up on the table, I'm not sure how much in control of that you are.
What do you mean?
So like if someone says, Aiden, don't jump on the table, I don't know that you can control whether you jump on the table or not.
No, I definitely can control it, doctor. I think that's like why, like my whole life is like where I am today. I think not listening to what everyone's doing. Have you ever seen the picture of it's like?
But can you listen?
To what?
To what other people tell you to do?
Of course, but like I have to experience it myself. Like that's how I.
So then I'm hearing that you can't until you experience it.
Yeah, I mean I can listen, but I mean I'm still gonna probably want to do it myself. Yeah.
Right. So when you want to do something,
most people are like that though. Like for example, like when you grow up, when I grew up as a kid, when I grew up, I'm gonna stop overgeneralizing. When I grew up as a kid, I was curious, right? Like when I was in high school, I would sneak out and I would go to a party. Like that's just me being curious, even though my dad was like, yo, don't do that. Like you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like I just think it's about when I'm curious. You want.
So let me ask you something. Do you control the curiosity, or does the curiosity control you?
It's a good question. I think the curiosity controls me.
What do you think about that?
It's not good, Doc, but I mean, a lot of people have that. You know, it's like it's 50-50. I think it's curiosity controls you, or you control curiosity. So everyone's different. I don't know why. I think it's perspective, how you grew up. But
I think. Yeah. So if I can share something,
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to try to catch a couple things that you say. So other people are like that or generalizations. I'm going to actually move in the opposite direction. I don't care about how other people are. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
What I'm interested in this conversation is you and what your experience is. So whether other people are whatever, happy, unhappy, good, bad.
Whatever. Fuck them.
Right?
We're just talking about you and I. Yeah.
And I think that some of what this emotional numbness, I think that this is connected because generally speaking, we can't control something unless we're aware of it.
Yes.
Right? So all you have to do is go to the dentist. And if you can't feel your mouth, right? So numbness and lack of awareness leads to a lack of control.
Correct.
And so what I'm kind of noticing is that you engage in behaviors that feel righteous, right? Like in your mind, they're logical and stuff. I'm not saying they're not logical. It's not my place to be the arbiter of logic and determine what is right or wrong. Whether it has to do with relationships, whether queens and hoes, like whatever. I'm not the arbiter of truth. What I'm hearing from you, though, is that there is an internal dimension that doesn't get a whole lot of play in the way that you interact with the world, right? These people did this, so I'm going to do this. This person said don't do this, so I'm going to tell them I'm going to do the exact opposite. Sounds like some people, that relationships that you feel emotionally connected to, you can actually listen to them. If your dad tells you, hey, Aiden, don't do this. Mom says don't do this. You can like set that aside.
Yeah,
right?
I can set it aside, but I still kind of, I get curious. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
yeah. So I mean, I think curiosity is beautiful. But my point is that, like, the thing that I'm worried the most about is that I don't know if you're in control of your life. I think you have a lot of power, and I think you've managed to probably control all of these external dimensions. So it sounds like you've got financial security. It sounds like you have freedom. It sounds like you have a lot of stuff out there. But I still get the sense that you are a puppet to yourself.
100%. I agree with you on that. I'm a puppet to my career. Literally, I'm a puppet to my chat. Swear to God, I am.
What do you want to... Is that okay? How do you feel about it?
No, I don't like it at all. I hate it. But it is what it is, Doc. It is what it is.
What'd you just do there?
I did it, Doc. You're right. Yeah.
What'd you do?
I tried avoiding the feeling of it by putting a pause, like a little it is what it is on the yeah.
So what did you push away?
I pushed away the truth.
And what is the truth?
That I'm a puppet.
How does that feel?
It sucks.
Sucks in what way?
It hurts, Doc.
So let me toss some stuff out, okay?
All right.
What I'm hearing there is powerlessness.
It's true.
And when I hear you at the age of 40, you don't know if you're going to be alone or not. Powerlessness there too.
Oh no! I mean, you're not going to know what you're doing by 45, Doctor. To be honest, nobody knows what we're. You know what I'm saying?
Logically, no one can predict the fucking future. I agree with you, Aiden. When I'm saying the emotional energy is powerlessness, right? Because you're like, fuck, 99% of people treat me as Aiden Ross. There's 1%. And let me ask you something. What's more common, Aiden? Queens or hoes?
Hoes.
And what does that mean for your future?
I'm fucked.
What is the emotion that goes with I'm fucked?
It is what it is.
Right? It's powerlessness.
Yeah.
And so here's the crazy thing, okay? Now I'm going to kind of like, I'm going to try to say this, okay? And reject it if you want to reject it. So it's my belief that you're, like, all of these things that you're scared of, you got to stop running away from them.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you admit to yourself, I am powerless, then you can do something about it. Right? You got to meet yourself where you're at.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, you got to say, like, when people, you know, the people who get divorced are the ones who don't think that their marriage has a problem. The people who say this marriage is on its last legs, we got to either bust it or try to save it. You have to admit, you have to accept the truth of what you feel.
Got it. Even though if it's the hard truth, you still got to accept it.
Absolutely. Right. And I see you doing that. I don't see you running away from it in a way.
Yeah, I can accept it. Like if it's in my face and I feel it, I'm not scared to accept the truth. I'm really not.
Yeah. So I hear you kind of saying it is what it is, but then you're still moving away from it. You're not actually moving towards it. And that's where, like, as you start to feel that powerlessness, I think you're going to find, right? And now I'm fucking making a mistake here, but I think you're going to find as you get in touch with your feelings that a lot of this stuff is active because like when you're talking to a girl, I think there's a lot going on inside you. And the thing is, like, if you kind of think about it, like you've got one really good trump card. I could be wrong, right? So you can tell me, hey, this is the generation. You're wrong, Dr. K. You don't know what it's like. So you can tell me I'm wrong. I'm going to admit that. All I want you to do is think and pay attention to yourself. Because once you start labeling people as this or this, you suddenly become really protected, right? Because the second you label someone a hoe, if you fall in love with her, that love ain't ever going to hurt you. It allows you to push her away. It allows you to, like, set yourself apart. It allows you to avoid connections and vulnerability.
Yes, you're right.
And so, like, the thing is, and so the crazy thing is that if your mind has an ulterior motive to protect you from your emotions, it'll, like, screw something else up.
That's good, though. It's just it's defense.
You're right. It's defense. But the question is, who's in control? Are you clear-headed? Or are these things working behind the scenes?
I mean, good the way to put it, I guess. I just think that, like, no, I mean, that is really a good way to put it. Because I don't know if I'm fully in control or not. You're right.
Right? And so all I want for you to do is, like, I want you to have whatever you want.
Thank you, doctor. I appreciate that.
Really? Like,
yeah.
You know, and I think, like, dude, you've accomplished so much at the age of 22. And so, like, this is where, like, you're kind of saying you don't have any passion for what's left, because I think you're right. You beat the game. You figured out how to succeed materialistically.
Yes. Now what?
Now you're where, you know who Gautam Buddha is?
Nope.
You know what Buddhism is?
That's the guys with the bellies, right?
Yeah, it's the guys with the bellies. So I'm going to tell you a story, okay?
Okay.
So there was once a prince in India, and his name was Gautam. His name was Gautam.
Okay.
And Gautam had it all. So when he was actually about your age, he was the prince of a powerful kingdom. He was loved. He was respected. He had a queen, like a real queen, who had given him a healthy son.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
And so everything in life we had heard, everything in life that he had heard was like, okay, if you're unhappy, the problem is that you're dating hoes, not queens. The problem is if you're unhappy, it means you don't have enough power. If you're unhappy, you need more money. You need more financial security. You need a Lambo. You can't be driving no fucking Toyota. You need a Lambo. All of these things will make you happy. And then that worked for everybody else, right? Because if I'm driving a Toyota and I don't have a Lambo, I have something to reach towards. I have something that gives me a sense of progress, right? There's some way of keeping score. And that feels really good psychologically to feel like you're making progress. But then he had everything. And one day he woke up and he was unhappy. And then he's fucked. Because what does he do now? Right? Like, how do I find happiness if I have the Lambo, I have a queen, I have a child, I'm a prince of a powerful kingdom. I'm like, what everyone else craves in the world is what I already have, and I'm still unhappy. And so he did something really weird. He gave it all up, and he's like, I got to figure this shit out. And so then he went to these spiritual teachers and gurus and all this kind of stuff, like looking for answers. And then what he kind of discovered was that there's a lot of, like, internal work done. And if you tell me that you've beaten the game, I think you've beaten the external game.
Beating the external game, the materialistic aspect of things, but they're still emotional, and there's still like that type of thing I have to master as well.
I think that's the game that, like, and this is what happens, is there's also this really interesting kind of saying, which is that you can't meditate on an empty stomach. And that if you really look at it, there's other stories I can tell you, but conquering the material. So I tried to become a monk when I was 21.
Oh, nice.
And I went to my teachers and I said, I'm ready to give up my life and become a monk. And I want to devote myself to spirituality in this internal game. Okay?
What happened?
My teacher said, what do you mean, give up? You've got fucking nothing. You have nothing to give up. You're a fucking failure at life.
Yo.
You have nothing worth giving up. So they said, get your ass back to, and this goes back to Harvard, okay? So now we're going to come full circle. So when I was 18 years old, I decided I was going to be pre-med, and I wanted to go to Harvard Medical School just like all the Indian kids. And I was going to be the smartest fucking doctor, and I was going to have the biggest fucking swinging dick, and I was going to be a Chad and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up failing a bunch of classes because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Then I go to India, and my teachers tell me, you have nothing worth giving up. Get your ass back to America, finish your studies, and do the best that you can. Finish a doctoral degree. And then at the age of 30, if you want to give all that shit up and you want to take your vows, we'll take you. And so on that day, Aiden, I was like you. And I said, these fuckers don't think I can do it. I'm going to show them. So I went back. I didn't give a shit about Harvard. I just wanted to be able to give up the biggest thing. And so I put myself fully into my studies, like went to med school. I didn't even show up at my award ceremony because it never dawned on my mind that I would get an award for being at the top of one of the classes.
I love that, man. That's amazing.
And like, they were also smart because they realized like being a monk ain't for me because they're good at that kind of shit. And I think that where you are right now is like, you've got to start this journey. And like, it's the journey to be happy. And no amount, I hate to break it to you, but finding this magical human being out there, it'll bring you happiness at the time, but then you're going to beat that game too. You're still going to wake up unhappy.
Wow, you're right. Damn. So the happiness comes from, so the happiness does come from being alone. Okay. Well, no, not being alone, but I would say happiness comes within, like you're like, you could be alone and be happy. Like you could be, like, you don't have to be with somebody to rely on happiness or anything like that. You could do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you're going to discover. And I think even if you look at your own life, you're going to discover that there are two kinds of happiness that you've experienced.
Correct. One
is going to be like this dopaminergic happiness, and one is like a quieter kind of thing.
Right.
And this numbness that you've got is like getting in the way of feeling that.
Damn. All right, I gotta find the spiritualness. I was spiritual at one point. I was very spiritual. I lost it. I gotta get it back. I need the light. I need to find it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna be fine. The one thing I would recommend for you is just catch yourself anytime you say it is what it is. And whatever you feel, just like let yourself feel it. It doesn't have to have any implication. It doesn't need to be logicked out. Just close your eyes and just let it be there without pushing it away, without doing anything with it. Just fucking sit with it.
Okay. I'm going to do that, doctor. I mean, like, anytime it is what it is, I'm just going to be like, nah, it's not. It is what it is. Face it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a step in the right direction. But even then, there's a cultivation of emotion there, right? Because you're like, I'm going to conquer it. I can see you're moving around quite a bit. You doing okay? Like we're done.
I have ADHD. Do you want to leave me already?
I thought that I'm getting physical signals from you that you've probably hit some kind of limit.
I just have ADHD, doctor. Let me stand up a little bit.
No, I mean, I think it's okay to be done. What do you think?
It is okay. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So how do you feel when you're leaving me already, doctor?
It's a joke. What do you mean?
Sure. I completely agree that you are using humor as a defense mechanism related.
No, I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you leave me or not. It's like, whatever. I'll move on to the next thing.
Okay.
But I mean, like, it's like, I meant it as a joke.
Sorry, my bad. Maybe I'm over-interpreting. Yeah, there. Yeah. I like to, in terms of stepping away. So, Aiden, I find that like 2 hours is I feel like we're in a good pausing point. And opening up a new chapter would be a commitment to like another hour or two.
Okay, I'm down to do this again.
What can you help me understand what your experience of this conversation was?
A lot. I think you're actually starting to change my perspective on how I feel. The most important thing I gain out of this whole thing is that it is what it is unacceptable. Stop saying it is what it is, and I think it's time to really just just let it do its thing. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I got from this conversation, first of all, Aiden, I think you're a remarkable human being who's been dealt a really good and really shitty hand at the same time. It's rare to see.
Nice. So if we're playing, if we're playing some poker, I got a nice, maybe like a two pair, like a, you know what I'm saying? Like
I think your life defies poker analogies. Like I can't, if I was thinking about poker specifically, it's like one of these hands that like is really strong and really weak at the same time. Like there's a lot of stuff a lot of shit you've been through, man.
Yeah.
A lot of hurt. And also like a lot of exceptionalism.
Yeah.
A lot of growth.
Yeah.
And I think that I've also learned about what it's like to be a part of your generation. You're teaching me about what gender dynamics and stuff are like for some people.
Yeah, like doctor, my generation is so cooked, bro. You can now like kids in school, they're learning about like they're getting pushed like weird agendas and shit. It's like fucked up.
Yeah,
I know. You know what I'm talking about. It's like bullshit. I just hate like my generation is just ass. Sad.
I think that I don't feel that way, but I think it's totally fine for you to feel that way. I think your generation is getting crushed, honestly.
I think ass. Yeah.
So I think they're just trying to do the best they can with the hand that they were dealt. And I was addicted to video games, and like video games weren't even that addictive when I was growing up. It's way worse now. So.
Nah. Doctor, the best games were Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, fucking all them shit. Now it's ass.
All right, so another place where we agree to disagree. But Call of Duty Black Ops, man.
That's the best game of all time, Black Ops 2.
All
Back
right,
when
man.
I could be in game chat and call somebody
You should check out a game called, have you played BG3?
No.
Baldur's Gate 3? Okay. And it's okay for people to like different kinds of food and different kinds of games. I don't know that we need to argue about it, but maybe one day if we really want to throw down, we can.
What's your favorite food? I love Indian food, by the way. Manta paneer is so good with naan, garlic naan. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's just when I never have leftovers. I put it in my fridge. It stinks up the whole house for like 3 days. But I love it.
It'll do that. Stink up the armpits too.
Yeah, but I love Indian food, by the way. But what's your favorite food, though?
What do you mean by favorite? The food that I enjoy eating the most?
Yeah. I mean, that's what favorite is, right? We particularly like to eat.
So back when I was a monk, I detested this particular kind of food I wasn't a monk, but back in my training days, I started to fall in love with like a rice and lentil dish called khichdi. And it's the kind of thing that like, it's weird. It's like super bland. But by the end of eating that stuff every single day, I absolutely loved it. It's some of the most enjoyable food that I've eaten. But I'm a big fan of like Tex-Mex. So I've got a couple of favorites. So I really like tacos. I really like pani puri is another Indian food. It's one of my favorite Indian foods.
Have you ever had what I'm talking about, manta paneer?
I don't know what the first word is, but I'm pretty sure I've had it.
Mata paneer. It's like this dish.
MATA?
MATTAR.
Matar. Yeah. So it's peas and paneer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paneer.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a vegetarian dish. It's
yeah.
Matar paneer.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I've had matar paneer.
So good.
Yeah. Where are you from, Aiden?
Florida.
Okay.
Where are you from, Doctor?
Texas.
What part of Texas?
I'm in Houston, basically.
H-Town.
Yeah.
Houston's cool. I think Austin's really fun too. Have you ever been to Austin?
I have. I went to school there.
You really?
Yeah.
Sweet. I was actually going to go to college there, Doctor. That's like where they wanted me to go to college. UT. They wanted me to go to the UT.
Yeah, I think you would have been great there.
Well, the community college first, and then UT. I would transfer.
Sure.
But thank God I didn't do it, right? Oh, you want to leave now?
Yes.
All right.
Is that okay?
That's okay. I give you permission.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not trying to pull out, but I also like if the point where we're talking about what's my favorite food and stuff, I'm totally down to like hang out sometime. I'll take you out for Indian food. Like that's totally cool. I'm not trying to, I don't want to reject you. And at the same time, I'm married with 2 kids and it's a weekday.
Oh,
So I
they
do
got
have
super marsh.
constraints on my time. Yeah.
Completely understand. All right, doctor. I'll let you get to your
Cool.
family and your normal life.
Thank you
I
so
would like
much.
to just I'd like to do this again. You know, you had me sign a form. I usually hit girls with NDAs. You hit me with like a consensual form and stuff. What's going on there? Real last question.
Yeah, so it's totally fine. I think we were doing some back and forth, but then y'all ended up being okay with it. So the main thing is that we just want people to really understand that this is not therapy, right? So there's something called informed consent, and that's really the most important part of the form. And then there's also some legal stuff. So like, for example, this may get uploaded to YouTube.
What's your channel, by the way? What's your channel?
HealthyGamerGG.
Healthy Gamer. Okay.
So this may get uploaded to YouTube, and so just that you consent for that to happen and stuff like that. So, and then we also have a policy where if you want something taken down, you just message us and we'll take it down. I think generally speaking, people we've interviewed a couple hundred people, and you know most of them are pretty happy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, are you allowed to talk about your other clients?
I don't.
I'm saying
probably
like
allowed to.
No. I'm saying like who have you interviewed that I would know in MySpace? Have you interviewed anybody in MySpace before?
I don't know what your space is. What do you mean by your space?
Streamer, like a streamer?
Yes, we've interviewed many streamers.
Trainwrecks?
I've had several conversations with Trainwrecks. Train is fantastic.
He's amazing. I love Train. He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that me or him? Chat? Was that him? Aiden? Bruh? I can't hear you, bro. I'm hearing robot voice. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can go to... Oh, there we go. We're back.
Okay, doctor, go to sleep with your family and stuff.
This is the universe's way of telling us that this is a good stopping point. Good luck to you, Aiden.
You too. We could do this again. We'll do it again.
Yeah, sure. Let's let our people talk, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
All right.
Have a good time. Okay. All right. So... Okay, so let's talk about a couple things. So I want y'all to be careful about a couple of things, okay? So the first is like, this cooked and you got him. Like, it's not a contest. There isn't a winner and there isn't a loser, right? Like, we do this to have conversations with people. And like, I want y'all to really understand that this is... I really hope that watching this will help y'all. Although if you choose not to have a little bit more compassion, I won't blame you, to be honest. I really won't. But like, you know, behavior happens for a reason. So we didn't really get into this with Aiden because I don't think it's the time yet. But if we talk about, let's say, promiscuity, right? So I've worked with people who are like sex and love addicts. And I think that there's just a lack of understanding that human beings are like complex organisms. And you can have a behavior like promiscuity, which can have all kinds of reasons for it. Right? So like, let's just run through top reasons why people are promiscuous. Number one, they have low self-esteem. And so it's a badge of honor to be able to get laid in some way, right? There's an objective sense of like, oh, I'm a better human being because I got laid. And so like your sense of self-worth gets determined by engaging in this behavior, right? Number two reason that people have sex is because they're afraid of being alone, right? So if there's like abandonment fears, and this is what I really see in a lot of like my patients that I've worked with who had sex and love addiction, that sex begins to mean additional things. I can't get people to love me. And in the past, when people have loved me, they've abandoned me or they've hurt me. But I've got one trump card I can play to get people to stay, right? Which is why your toxic ex is happy to put out when you guys haven't talked to each other for 6 months, because it's how y'all get fucking entangled again. And so this is the big thing, and I don't know if Aiden's paying attention. Totally cool if you are, bro. Loved it. Right? But your internal environment is something that a lot of us are blind to. And so then we sort of develop some of these coping mechanisms where, I know it sounds kind of weird, but there's actually research that shows that coping mechanisms lead to poor outcomes. Coping mechanisms can make your life worse. And why is that? It sounds really weird, right? Because everyone's like, learn to cope, like you meditate, like, oh, like meditate more, like meditate your problems away. But the reason for that is that when we cope, when something's bothering me in life, and I learn how to cope, I no longer need to fix it because it's not bothering me anymore. This is why people in abusive relationships end up addicted to substances. Because this person hurts me, and I can make the hurt go away by using drugs or substances or TikTok, whatever. And then as I make those feelings go away, I tolerate the relationship. Coping is not fixing. Now, coping mechanisms, judicious use of healthy coping mechanisms leads to positive outcomes. So there's it's more to it, okay? But for I just really ask y'all that there are going to be people out there who will piss you off, have very strong worldviews, and we can kind of see it, right? Like, what does engaging in the worldview do? You can try to logic and argue it, and both of us realize, hey, no one's fucking learning anything here. But think about how it feels to engage in that. I love it too. I love it. Because there's a part of me that's like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He has no clue. But what is that? That's arrogance on my part. It feels good to be arrogant. Who am I to say that this kid has no clue? So don't get into stupid arguments with people. And if you get into stupid arguments with people, start to think a little bit about what this does for you. When I get into arguments with idiots, I feel better about myself. And since I'm feeling crap about myself, I can do two things. I can go bully someone, or I can get some dumbass on the internet into an argument that is indefensible and bully them. And then I'm going to see all my stuff get upvoted. I'm going to see all their stuff get downvoted. And then I'm going to feel good about myself. And once I feel good about myself, I'm not going to make any changes in my life because my life is shit. And instead of fixing that, I can school noobs on the internet. This is what happens on the internet. So think a little bit about your internal environment and what drives you to do the things that you do. And it's not my place to say that the world is one way or isn't one way. I really don't know. Literally, I do not know. There's all kinds of conflicting research, all kinds of conflicting perspectives. All you can really know is what's in here. This is the only place that you can have perfect information. The rest of it is questionable. And so don't worry about all that crap. I mean, I think you should try to do good in the world, right? So I'm not saying abandon the world, but for fuck's sake, start with yourself. Start by trying to be happy. Start by trying to understand yourself. Start by crafting your own destiny instead of being a puppet to your internal drives. If Aiden was a puppet to anyone else, he'd be fine. He can handle anyone except himself. And that's the human condition. And please, y'all, don't look, I'm not saying people shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. I have no idea, I don't know. I don't follow the guy on Twitter. It's not my place to pass judgment. That's not what we're here for. And for those of y'all that think that this interview was a mistake or whatever, you're allowed to say that. And if y'all don't want us to interview certain kinds of people, that's fine. I'm not saying that's fine as in you're allowed to have your, I mean, please let us know and tell us, right? Hey, I think this is harmful for these. We're not here to hurt people. We're here to help people. But one thing that we're just here to talk to human beings. And I believe that there's a decent human inside 99.9% of people. I've met a couple people in my clinical work that I just don't think there's a decent human in there. I gotta say that, right? I'm not such a dumb idealist that I think everyone can be saved. But for fuck's sake, we can do way better than we're doing. Right? Some people are just so neurologically like impaired, and their lives are just, I mean, we're talking about like severe trauma or brain injuries or all kinds of other stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that like maybe people can't change. But, you know, like people like me, people like Aiden, we can change. And y'all can change too. Right? And it's like, it's not my place to say that you should change in this way. Like, if you believe that there are only two sexes or genders or whatever, like, that's false and here's the signs. I mean, we can fucking have that conversation one day if y'all want to, but it's useless. I mean, it's not useless. I take that back. That's dumb. It is not the conversation that I am gifted at having. And what I want y'all to do more than anything else is think about yourselves and think about, like, what's going on inside me. Because if you want freedom in this world, it's not going to come from the world. It's going to come from you. You can't control anything outside of you. And boy, if you want to lose freedom in your life, the quickest way to lose control of your life is to try to control another human being. Because when you try to control another being, I don't want this person to break up with me, you compromise yourself. I will do whatever I need to stop this person from breaking up with me. And that's when they control your life. Let people do what they want. I'm not saying you should tolerate abuse, right? But also, I've worked with people who have had to tolerate abuse for a time. And the whole problem with abuse is that we try to get people to stop instead of leaving. Anyway. So, like, learn about yourselves, y'all. There's so much power in this world that you can find in here. And I'm not talking about like finding your inner chi. I'm talking about like literally if you just understand the effect of your emotions on your behaviors. This whole thing where it's like, you know, stuff comes into Aiden and stuff just flows right out. There's no like modification internally. The capacity to internally modify. The capacity to respond instead of react. That's what y'all should focus on. Let whatever comes in. We can't really control that. I can do some magic in here, and then what comes out can be different. And when you start controlling what comes out of you, then your life will change. Because that's all you can control. And we waste so much energy trying to control everything else. Yeah, I still meditate. Not yoga every day, but okay. All right, y'all. So I want to thank y'all. I mean, I wasn't watching comments too carefully, but I really hope that y'all were kind and compassionate. That's what we're really here for. I don't know if this is against TOS. I'm not quite sure what to do about that, but I mean, I guess if we get, you know, anyway, the cat's out of the bag now. And I think that, like, sometimes people will use language that we don't agree with or appreciate with, and, like, we can sort of let them know that, but, you know, I don't know. And I apologize if anyone's been hurt by, you know, the language that Aiden used, or I used for that matter. I mean, who knows? I may have used toxic language. That's not really my intention at all. And so I'm like, sorry if anyone's been hurt by anything in stream today, including me ranting at you, right? So I really appreciate everybody coming today. My hope from the bottom of my heart is that we've been able to increase awareness and understand ourselves a little bit better. I really hope that someone has benefited from this. I've certainly benefited from it. I hope Aiden benefits some from it. I hope all y'all benefit from it as well. And that's what we do here. So if y'all are new, this is what we do. We talk to people and we have frank conversations with people. And like, it's my belief that like engaging people in dialogue is like really a really positive way forward. I mean, that's what I do in my day job, and it works pretty well. And so I know that the internet is judgmental, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be accountability, but that's just not, I'm not a judge. It's not my place to cancel someone or not cancel someone. So that's like outside of my purview. Let the smart people who know more about the difference between right and wrong figure that out. And I have no idea when we're going to be streaming next. I'm sure that it's somewhere, but frankly, chat, I'm fried. Like, just fried. And that's not a bad thing. It's just I've hit my limit for what I can do today. Thank you all very much for coming. And we hope to see you again.